Oh boy. I'm a real boy. How's it going, guys? Talk about a deep and dark topic, David Otero. As far as I'm aware, and this is all I care to be updated on that story right now, is Etika had like his wallet, switch, a few other things discovered by a bridge. I think the Manhattan Bridge or something. I'm not exactly sure which bridge it was. And he posted up that I'm sorry video, and might have committed suicide. That's all we really know right now. I know that they were kind of dragging the river or whatever there to try to see if they found his body at all. We don't know if he actually jumped or not. Obviously, it definitely looks like he did, but that could be staged or who knows. We don't know. We don't have. There's no real updates on it at all unless a body is found, unless he's declared dead, or if he pops up somewhere and he's alive, like everyone hopes so. So, mental illness is just not a thing to screw around with. I think anyone knew that there was obviously a mental illness involved. I know at one point when I talked about Etika in the past, I mentioned, maybe it's not. Maybe he's just playing us, right? Like he's not actually unstable. He's actually just playing us. But obviously, we know at this point that I'm sorry video. If you haven't seen it, he was obviously mentally unstable. So he was able to admit it to himself finally. It took him all this time to admit it to himself. Unfortunately, he was only able to admit it to himself in the midst of what appeared to be a suicide video and a suicide note in the description. So all we can do is hope that didn't happen. And that maybe this was his way of exiting the internet. I think that's what everyone was kind of hoping is hey, maybe he's just leaving the internet and being done with social media, which would probably be for the best case of his mental health. But don't know. I don't really want to focus too much on it because I don't want to start making presumptions one way or another what's going on. So it's just a really sad story. And as I always remind people when we talk about stuff like this, like, dude, take your mental health seriously. Don't ignore certain feelings you might have at times. Or that if you're never happy, if you're always angry, if you're always sad, like don't ignore those feelings. Go get help. Because it can manifest into something much worse. You can end up hurting yourself or hurting others. And I don't think that's something that we as people really want to do. Like in the case of Etika, I don't think that he ever intended to hurt himself or hurt anyone else. I don't think that was ever his intent. So it's one of those things that you need to take it seriously and take care of yourself. Take care of each other. I have a family and people around me to help me if things happen, just like I help my fiance and my kids and everything. But it's life. An unbiased Nintendo fan is here. Welcome, my man. Hooray, I caught a stream. Obviously, David Roteo's here. Jaden Myers. Tornin Prince. How you guys doing, man? I don't know how many people are going to show up. I'm not really advertising the stream. Well, I should put it up for patrons on our Discord server, so give me a second here. I'll share it with them. What's up, Dylan Games? How's it going? Because I'm not really... I'm not streaming on Twitch tonight. I just don't have it set up right now. It's not hard to set up, but it's kind of an unplanned stream. I was supposed to be on someone else's podcast tonight, but the podcast itself was canceled. So here I am, spending a little bit of time with you guys. Helps if I do the tag right. There we go. An unbiased fan, Advanced Media Networks podcast. He was supposed to have a podcast tonight, and I was going to be on it. I was on the first episode. I was going to be on the second episode. No. Sometimes I hate how Twitter works. That wasn't what I was trying to do. I accidentally clicked on someone, and then like I went to make a tweet, and then it's like, oh, tweet at this person. I'm like, no. All right. He canceled it because other people weren't able to show up. So it's a podcast in the past that Supermodel Dave was on, Dreamcast Guy, and Joey Ferris. And from what I understand, I was the only person today who did a final confirmation. And he doesn't want to do like what we have in the Nintendo Prime podcast, where it's like a 2-person podcast. He wants it to be like 3, 4, 5 people, which I understand. Those podcasts are, in my opinion, much more entertaining. So more power to him. He pushed it. We'll see if and when it gets rescheduled. Let's see here. What's up, Ryan Lisa? How's it going? Was that the one last week you were on? 2 weeks ago, before I went to E3. Yes. What's up, Gamer STO? You made a late night stream. Welcome, my man. What's with all the Etika news? Kind of already talked about it. There really isn't much to say right now other than I hope he's still with us. That's all I really want to say on it at this point until we know anything more than what we currently know. Let's see here. Good evening, Nate. I am very proud of you getting your son a Switch, and the reaction this stuff made me super happy, not just as a gamer, but also a good person who cares about another people's happiness. Once again, you should be a Father of the Year material right there, my friend. I don't know that buying a kid something is Father of the Year material, even if it involves sacrificing something for me. I don't know if that really makes you Father of the Year. But I appreciate the sentiment, obviously. Thank you for your kind words. Thank you for all the kind words, by the way, on that video. I think it's got almost 2,000 views, which is more views than I thought it was going to get. And just, I don't know, was it 80, 90 comments? Pretty much all of them positive, not a single negative comment. It was weird. There was like 7 dislikes. I kept thinking, like, man, who could dislike a video like that? Like who could dislike a video about a kid being happy? You know, I don't know. But there's always people like that out there. But all the comments were extremely positive. Obviously, massive like to dislike ratio. I'm glad you guys really enjoyed it. It is weird turning on my Switch right now. There's like no games on my Switch right now because I also gave him my memory card because we all know the Switch has like no space. So I only had a 256. I gave it to him. And install all the games, which means I'm stuck with just 32 gigs, which means I basically have no games on my Switch right now. So I guess it was even a bigger sacrifice because I also sacrificed my ability to play games I do own right now because my library is mostly digital. So whatever, I'll get myself like a 400 gig micro SD SSD. I'll try to find a budget for that sometime here in the next month so I can finally start gaming again. But it's okay. Everything will be fine. So Switch has no game. My Switch doesn't. His Switch has all of my games. Plus he has a few physical games himself. He has Donkey Kong Tropical Freeze, Captain Toad. He has New Super Mario Bros. U Deluxe arriving tomorrow. He bought that with an Amazon gift card today. So he's got a few physical games and then my entire digital library. Let's see here. What games do I plan on playing with your son? Probably New Super Mario Bros. U Deluxe. Pretty much it. He likes to play a lot of things solo, but when he does play, he likes playing games that are a bit easier, so it's less frustrating when you're playing it with other people. Nothing wrong with that. Let's see here. Why is your channel named Nintendo Prime? Why is my channel named Nintendo Prime? That's a very good question. People don't ask that very often. Some people assume Metroid, right? We even used to have a Metroid Prime themed intro. Really cool intro. Might bring it back for something. Actually, isn't that used on the podcast still? I think it might still be used on the podcast. So if you ever watch our podcast, we have a Metroid Prime themed intro, but it actually isn't from Metroid Prime at all. Basically, when I was kicking around a side project back in the Zelda Informer days, I had a lot. This is like the first attempt at a Nintendo entity. Believe it or not, I used to run a website that I created called newnintendo.net. You might think, oh, that new Nintendo name. That must have been inspired by the new Nintendo 3DS or something, right? No. I was doing that long before Nintendo put new in front of anything. Even before New Super Mario Brothers. It predated New Super Mario Brothers. I put new in front of it probably for the same reason Nintendo does. I couldn't think of anything original back then. So it was new Nintendo. And I was trying to think of what would be a really popular SEO search term for a name. Well, people were searching a lot for new and Nintendo together. New Nintendo games, new Nintendo systems, etc. So I, in my brilliancy, thought new Nintendo would be a highly searched term and I could blow up. Didn't happen. But as for Nintendo Prime, basically I knew at the time that originally when Nintendo Prime's name was created, it wasn't about YouTube. It was about a news website. Running Zelda Informer. I thought about using Nintendo Informer. Someone else was already using that name. And I don't know if I wanted my site to be tied to Zelda Informer so much since I didn't own Zelda Informer. So I kept thinking I wanted it to be Nintendo something. And I literally was on Amazon Prime ordering something that was Nintendo-ish. And I'm like, hey, Amazon Prime, Nintendo Prime. Why the hell not? Fast forward 4 years, and here we are. As a YouTube entity now, when I didn't even have a YouTube channel back then. And here we are as Nintendo Prime, using a fully copyrighted name and part of my username on YouTube. Now, when I finally officially register as an LLC or whatever, I might have to change it from Nintendo Prime. I might be able to keep it Nintendo Prime on the front, but it'll be like Nintendo Prime ran by Nathaniel Rufflejans Media or something, right? It'll be ran by something that's actually a non-copyrighted name, if that makes sense. So there'll be a business behind Nintendo Prime that doesn't have Nintendo in the name. So I don't think Nintendo's lawyers will ever come after me, but I'd like to avoid those legal ramifications if they come up someday. Let's see here. What games do? Oh, I already answered that. What's up, Corey Bohm? How's it going? Welcome to the stream. So Switch has no games, right? Yeah, dude, there's no games. My Switch literally has no games right now. You don't believe me? For those who don't believe me, by the way, I should take off these Joy-Cons that are broken. Actually, you know what? I want to leave them on here just to see if they disconnect on this Switch. Anyways, look at that blankness. There's my account. I have a bunch of save data on here for a bunch of games, but 0 games. There are no games on my Nintendo Switch right now. But does the Switch literally have no games? Of course not. The Switch is packed. There are so many games out there. So many games. As I said, I gave my son my memory card too, so I have no space to put games. So, I mean, obviously I could re-download Cadence of Hyrule and some smaller stuff and still play some indie stuff, but I want my AAA games back, man. I don't have space for them. So, I mean, I have space to probably install one of them. When do you think the Breath of the Wild sequel will release, says Dylan Games? Do you think it will require a Switch Pro to play it? No. The new 3DS wasn't used much for exclusive games, per se. Xenoblade Chronicles, even, like, that was exclusive, but it was a port, so you could play it on Wii. Minecraft, you can play on everything, even though that was also a new Nintendo 3DS thing. So, yeah, I don't think they're going to do that with Breath of the Wild 2. It's too big of a game to limit it to just a small niche market, so no. Will it run better on a Switch Pro? You know, maybe. Who knows? Maybe they can hit 60 FPS on Switch Pro versus 30 FPS on the OG Switch. I don't know. But that's something to speculate when we don't even know what the Switch Pro is. Or if it's ever going to come out. We just don't know. Switch Mini, like, really 99% confident that's coming. But Switch Pro, we kind of stopped hearing about it. So, I mean, materialism does not bring people happiness. However, it is the thought that the love is a parent count. Well, yeah, and obviously, you guys saw in that video of my son, he was very appreciative in his own way. I know some people were hoping, oh, he's gonna react like the N64 kid. I'm like, that's not really my kid's style, right? Like, he doesn't. When he gets really excited, he doesn't really act that way. You could see his excitement once he realized what it was. Like, yeah, the Switch box. He sees it in my office all the time. He always sees a Switch box. So that's why, like, he's like, nah. nah, they're not giving me a Switch. Like he just couldn't believe it. So when he opened it and like it just fully hit him, like you could see that excitement where he struggled to even pick up the box. He wanted to show everyone that he actually got a Switch. And like that moment, it's priceless. And obviously the hug and everything, of hugging me and hugging Yulia was a moment that we'll never forget. Not just because it's in video form, but just because it's I think it's the most excited we've ever made him. So, couldn't you game share? I do game share. It's not about game sharing. It's about not having space to install games. It's got nothing to do with game sharing. Let me see here. Why did you give him your games? I gave him the memory. Guys, I gave him the memory card so he could actually play the games I have. What's the point on me saying, hey, you want to play Splatoon 2? You want to play this? You want to play that? You want to play all these different games? Hey, here's a Switch with no space on it to actually install them. That would suck. No, so I gave him my memory card so he could actually have my entire digital library. It also means I can't have it right now. It's not a big deal. I will get a new memory card down the line. It's okay. These are the sacrifices you make. That means right now I'm not gaming on my Switch. It's actually kind of neat because I've been gaming on my PC a bit more. But obviously I miss gaming on my Switch. And I'll get back to it. Relax. I played it a ton when I was gone at E3. I'll get back into it. It's all good. I still play with my kids on his Switch now, on my son's Switch. So it's not like I haven't played any Switch games. I just played some Donkey Kong Tropical Freeze today. Let's see here. Let me see. Are you surprised with how good The Witcher 3 looks on Switch? I mean, we haven't seen a lot of direct feed gameplay of it, but what we've seen looks pretty good. But we'll have to wait until we actually see like a really huge chunk of it, or till it's in our hands. To be frank, that sounds pretty interesting about New Nintendo Not Yet. Yeah, I don't own that domain anymore, but yeah. I was told that I need a screen protector and a carrying case for the Switch if I buy one. That makes it over a $300 investment. When you bought your first Switch, did you do that? I did buy a screen protector because like a phone, like a tablet, anything that has like a screen like that, I like to protect. Now, I didn't know that it was plastic at the time, but I pre-bought a glass screen protector before the Switch even came for like $5 on Amazon. So screen protectors really aren't that expensive. They're cheap as hell. Now, if you go buy them at like a retail outlet, yeah, they're going to be more, but you can find them online for really cheap, dirt cheap. And if you don't care about the glass feel, if you just want to get plastic film, that's even cheaper. So I did do that. And that's why my OG Switch still has no scratches on it. As for a case, I bought the special edition of Breath of the Wild at launch, which came with a case. So I've always had a case. The big thing is, do you need a case? You absolutely do not need a case. I'm going to tell you right now, truthfully and honestly, unless I'm traveling really, really far, I don't use my Switch case that often. I used it when I was going to E3 and it came in handy. But in general, I just grab my Switch and go. I don't really always grab the case. So I think you don't really need a case. But I would put a screen protector on. I think you should do that with any device that has a screen. Always put a protector on. You'd rather risk cracking and scratching on the protector than on the actual screen. It's much cheaper to replace a screen protector than it is to get a Switch serviced. Let's see. And if you want a suggestion for like a screen protector, I can do something. I mean, there's a zillion of them, but I mean, maybe you want to click on an Amazon affiliate link and help me out. I don't know. I need to load Cadence. Funnily enough, I think my next video game stream is going to be Cadence of Hyrule, just because I basically barely touched it. So I might start a new save file and start a live stream of it. But we'll see. I know you're really obviously into Crypton the Necrodancer and probably Cadence as well. So we'll see about that, Corey. I do plan to stream it eventually when I have more time. Obviously, you guys have noticed I don't stream a lot right now. I don't have a ton of time for streams. But I make do with what I got. All right. So I was just texting my fiance. I think she's taking a bath or a shower or something. What I haven't seen my Switch like that in ages. I haven't seen my Switch like that since I unboxed a Switch day one. That's how long it's been since I've seen my Switch like that. Let's see here. Am I going to get, stream, and play Mario and Sonic at the 2020 Tokyo Olympic Games on the channel when it comes out? It says computer robots. Well, the easy answer right now is I have zero plans to buy another Switch game the rest of 2019. Now, note that's zero plans. Plans can change. I can find myself with some extra revenue or something, right? I could find myself with extra money and suddenly, hey, I do buy that game, or I do buy Link's Awakening, or I do buy Pokemon, or like what. But right now, I blew my entire gaming budget to buy my son a Switch, so I do not currently plan to buy any games in 2019. I'm not concerning myself with saving up to buy games in 2019. I had saved up for that gaming budget as it was to pre-order a bunch of stuff coming out of E3, and I decided, nope, buy my son a Switch. So my gaming budget is toast, and that's all I really got to say. Who knows? Maybe I'll come across and I'll get a bunch of sponsorships. Like I'm working on a sponsored video for this next week. Maybe I'll end up getting a bunch of sponsorships and have a bunch of extra money, and then I'll be able to buy games, and it won't even be a problem, and we'll just move on in life. But I mean, yeah, I have another job and all that, but that job's how I support my family. In addition to revenue from here, also helps support my family. It also supports the channel in general and affords me to make excuses to have time to actually work on content. Because sometimes you got to be like, hey, well, honey, I need you to watch the kids right now because I got to work. I actually got to go do some Nintendo Prime stuff. Oh, cool. Yeah, awesome. Will the Switch Mini be for Yulia now? I still have another child that does not have a Switch. So, let's see here. That article I sent you says Nintendo increased their memory chip orders by 30% this quarter. That's what I figured based on the title. I obviously didn't read the article yet, but that's what I figured based on the title. Not surprised. I mean, they have a lot of games coming, plus potentially a Switch Mini launch. So, all right. Good night, Owen Brewster. I'm sure you're already gone. Prime Day, you can probably grab an SD card. Well, dude, like the 400 gigabyte micro SD cards right now are like $50 something. They're super cheap, and I want one. I mean, that'll be even bigger than what I have now. I was already filling up the 256, if I'm being completely honest. So, I mean, it was like I did not have all my games installed because I didn't have space. So I need to get the 400. I really want the 512. I really want the 1 terabyte, but let's just be honest. I ain't buy myself a 1 terabyte micro SD card for like $1,000. So, yeah, I want to get the 400 one for like 50. So it's out there. It's available for that price. I don't have the money. We'll see. That's the only thing that I can tell you guys I plan to buy at some point this year is a micro SD card. I will find a rhyme or reason to make an extra $50 somewhere and buy myself one. Not a huge deal. Get it when I get it, but what if he drops the Switch and breaks it? Well, I mean, what if what? I know how to repair Switches and warranties, so since you are of gaming now, does that mean lots of Witcher 3? What? Since you are of gaming now? What are you talking about, Corey? I don't understand that question. What's up, Juan Castillo? Love that gift reaction video. Now I don't feel too bad. I gave my then 6-year-old son a Switch this past Christmas. Nice. Let's see here. The cases from Satisfy are really good. Dude, yeah. I got to finally touch one of those Satisfy grips and the cases at E3. They're nice. I got to admit, they're pretty damn nice. I didn't buy one because they're super expensive. But, man, they're nice. Did I get your kid a Pro Controller? I don't even have a Pro Controller. I mean, there's a wireless controller right here. I use an off-brand Pro Controller. But no, I didn't buy him a Pro Controller. Why would I do that? I know, right? Best way to play. Blah, 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 blah. So what? He's a kid. He's fine with the Joy-Cons. It's all good. You don't need a Pro Controller. Has my kid slept since? Dude, he's sleeping right now. But yeah, he did get to play it a lot today, a lot more than usual. Normally he only gets like an hour or two a day. Today he got a lot because it was a really dreary, rainy day out. So it was basically indoor stuff, and we did some physical activity and played hide and seek and tag and a few other things. But it's hot and muggy in Wisconsin right now, and he got to play a lot of video games today, which is, it's okay to have days like that sometimes. Is it weird that I'd rather have Rhythm Heaven over Cadence? I mean, they're different games, so sure. I win Dad of the Year. Yeah, I don't think buying kids stuff gets you Dad of the Year, but it's all right. I mean, it was obviously a really nice thing. I have no regrets, man. Well, every time he plays it, like, and seeing the smile on his face and how happy he is, it's just like, yeah, you know what? Yeah, I can't play my Switch right now, but cool. I can. As I said, there's 32 gigs on the Switch. I can install some of my games, or like one big game at a time, but it's whatever. As I said, Cadence will probably get installed, and I'll probably stream that, play, beat it, and then we'll see. I guess it's an excuse for me to do my back catalog and beat games the rest of the year, because then I can like install one game at a time and then go back and then beat it, then move on, then beat it and move on. I guess I could look at that as a positive. Finally get all my games that I actually own beat. Let me see here. I've barely done anything productive out of the house. I stay up late, 4 or 5 a.m. Wake up late. The Switch has helped out though. Nice. Let's see here. PC gaming me more Witcher 3 time. I actually haven't been playing Witcher 3 on PC. I mean, I own it on PC, but I haven't been playing it. I actually uninstalled it. I've been playing Lords of the Realm 2, Age of Empires, and Age of Empires 2. Those are the games I've been playing a lot of. Some old school strategy games. Let's see here. You got to get ready for tomorrow? All right, later, Red Chaos. What's up, Red Plumber? How you doing? Are you upset about the Sword and Shield Pokedex? On a personal level, I don't have all the Pokemon anyways. I haven't played all the generations, so it doesn't really bother me. And on a personal level, because I don't have... But if I did, it would bother me. And I don't like the reasonings given. There's been a lot of excuses made for what they're doing. The only one that I think is potentially valid is balance. But anything to do with animations is just bullcrap. What we have seen so far of the given Pokemon that have been in prior games and the attacks that have been from prior games are carbon copies of attacks and Pokemon from back when Pokemon X and Y was made. I don't know if this is a widespread knowledge thing, but when they created the animations and the assets for the Pokemon back at Pokemon X and Y, which is the last time we had a major overhaul of Pokemon, they made all those assets in HD. And the assets we see in Sword and Shield are one-to-one with the assets from X and Y. Meaning they didn't... Hey, Baldson16 donated. Said, are you getting the Dreamer edition of Link's Awakening? Thank you for all the amazing content. Right now, I am getting absolutely nothing. And I'm sure the Dreamer edition's already sold out. At the moment, I have zero gaming budget for the rest of the year. So I currently am not getting Link's Awakening, at least this year. Now, will I own Link's Awakening eventually? Oh, you gosh darn right I will. But probably won't end up having it this year. But we'll see. As I said, that's the plan. Plans change. So, but yeah, since a lot of the assets are one-to-one and a lot of the animations are one-to-one, it's basically like they just didn't want to do it. They want to focus on what's more marketable. 900 Pokemon isn't marketable that well, but all of the recognizable 500 or so Pokemon, oh, those are marketable. So, to be honest, they're just focusing on, in my opinion, where can they make budget cuts and still sell a crap load of copies. And they made budget cuts on, hey, let's not worry about balancing all the Pokemon. Budget cut. And the Pokemon team's relatively small. It's only like 100. There's like 147 or 150 employees at Game Freak, and only 100 of them actually work on Pokemon. 50 of them actually work on games like Town and stuff like that. So the Pokemon team's only 100 strong, which is kind of BS if you consider how popular Pokemon games. Forget the anime, the games are. Like, it's the second most popular video game IP ever made in terms of games sold. It should be a 200, 300 person team round the clock all the time, but it's not. They make these games as cheaply as they can. Then that's always been that way for Pokemon. Dating all the way back. I think the exception is probably Gen 1. That I don't know that there was ever cheapness considered with those games. And we know Iwata actually had a big deal to do with why those games could even exist on Game Boy. So I think there are times. But for the most part, Pokemon's always been about, let's make these really interesting, cool, childlike RPG game and make it as cheap as we can and sell as many copies as we can. That's always been the MO of Game Freak and the Pokemon Company, and it continues to be the MO, even with Sword and Shield. They're doing a lot of amazing new things. The wilds look kind of cool in some regards. The cities kind of look big and massive and all this, but I think when we play it, a lot of things aren't going to be as big and as massive as we hope they are. And at the end of the day, it's just, hey, it's new for a Pokemon game. It's going to end up being a really good Pokemon game. Might end up being one of the best Pokemon games, but it's still going to be one of those, like, dude, this should be a AAA console IP that just dominates, has a $200 million budget, has 300 to 500 employees making it, and just rocks people's socks and sells 30, 40, 50 million copies. But they don't really care about that. Make it as cheap as they can, make as much money as they can, sell 15 to 20 million, and they'll be happy. So, fortunately, Pokemon fans kind of just enjoy Pokemon for what it is, which isn't really a bad thing, I guess. You enjoy Pokemon for what it is. You buy the games, you have your fun, whatever. But to me, you're charging $60 a pop. I expect AAA quality. I feel like we're getting B-tier quality games. I think I don't think there's any way you can kind of look at those Pokemon games. If you've never played a Pokemon game before, like, set aside being long-term Pokemon fans, if you've never played a Pokemon game before and you saw the trailer for Sword and Shield from E3, and you're like, wait, there's 2 of these games, and to get all the Pokemon, you got to buy 2 of them, so you got to spend $120. But let's just say you're going to buy one. Does that look like a $60 game? I'm just being completely, like, if you just look at that, how does that look better than a lot of the indie games we get for $25? It doesn't. So you just kind of look at it and you're like, that's a $60 game? Like, forget all the prior games and the long-standing history of the franchise. Like, you look at it like, that's a AAA game? What? And I think that's a bigger deal than the Pokedex thing, where it's kind of like, really? But you know what? People are going to buy it, so they're going to sell in the millions. So what do I know? They're a business. They're billionaires. I'm a struggling, aspiring YouTuber that, well, I was going to say that works out of his mom's basement. It's actually my basement. This is my house. So, I mean, my basement is my studio, but, I mean, duh. Of course your basement's your studio, you know. You keep your living areas separated from your studio. Let's see here. And I'm sorry for people. I am a little bit behind in the chat, of course. If you really want your questions answered, be sure to ping at Nintendo Prime in the chat, and I will try to answer your questions as much as I can. I'm trying to read stuff in between as well, so I'm always a little bit behind in the chat. I do have the chat live over here, so like I saw Philip, who just said hi. How's it going, man? And I saw Justin Aquatoad McGowan and said, Nathaniel, we'll buy you Link's Awakening. You don't have to do that. When I say, like, I don't have a gaming budget the rest of the year, this isn't me saying, hey guys, buy me games. I think there's been there was some criticism when I mentioned that I took my gaming budget and I bought it for my Switch, because I think people took it as I'm using this really kind act that I'm doing for my child as a reason to make people feel like they should buy me things. And I don't want you guys to feel that way. I mean, you're more than welcome to support the channel. Head over to patreon.com/Nintendo Prime, become a patron, hit that join button, become a member down below. Heck, I don't know. I've never pushed memberships before, but like if you become a member, you get a little custom thing next to your name that changes colors depending on how many months you're a member for. You also get custom emojis, like if I can get them to work here. Okay, there we go. Now it's working. You get these custom emojis, and the more members we get, the more custom emojis we can add in, and blah, blah, blah. Like, it's really cool, and it supports the channel. And I would love to have, like, 300 members on my channel, like I don't know, like Player Essence does, or have, you know, a ton of people on Patreon. I get that up to 200 or 300 people. But honestly, like, I want people to do that because they want to support the content I'm making. I don't want people to do it because, hey, we want to buy you games. I do have a P.O. box if people want to send me stuff. But I don't really care if you do that. Does that make sense? Like, I don't really care if you do that. I don't want people to feel then I'm a charity act. Like when I brought up that thing about my kid, it was to get people to stop asking me, "Am I gonna buy this? Am I gonna buy that?" Like, no, I'm not. I'm not planning to buy anything. So again, there's ways to support my channel and support what I do and afford me more time to continue to do it. But go ahead and check out those things and see if you like them. But because there's also on Patreon, there's like different tiers and different rewards for different tiers. But otherwise, like, don't just like buy me games because you feel bad that I can't buy games. Like, don't do that. I don't want this being a pity trip. Like, no pity, man. I'm cool. I'm cool playing my back catalog. I'll be good. I got lots to enjoy. The Power A controllers are awesome. Yeah, I have a few wired ones around as well. And then obviously this is a wireless Power A controller. That the only thing I don't like is the batteries aren't rechargeable. I mean, you can buy rechargeable batteries for it, but let's see here. I'm just looking for the next time I was pinged. The thing is, I don't mind having all the Pokemon. I want the new Pokemon. Also, they never have all the Pokemon in the game. Never. Yeah, well, a lot of it's been post. Like, even some Pokemon that you transfer out of the old bank, you couldn't do it until, like, post-game, and sometimes it took a few months before you could do it. But you could still do it. It was kind of the big thing. It wasn't so much that they're available in the game. I don't think there's been any game except for, like, Gen 1 during Gen 1, where all the Pokemon were available in that generation. But I do think there is a history here, obviously, where, hey, at some point you were able to bring everyone in, and now you can't. And now a bunch of Pokemon might just rot in the bank and never be brought back because you don't control when you can bring them back again. So I think it's a little interesting just to see how that plays out. But whatever. Yokai Watch made the kind of jump to Switch that Pokemon should have. So Yokai Watch Dank Panther looks really good. Its sales in Japan right now, Yokai Watch 4, is not selling very well, but I don't know what that really means. Yokai Watch kind of dipped in popularity almost as fast as it rose, so I just don't think that people care about it as much, but I also think the game they've made now appeals more to the West than it does to Japan. But I don't know. I honestly don't know. Yokai Watch has just never had the staying power that Pokemon does. So, but Yokai Watch 4 does look nice. I haven't actually seen enough gameplay of it to determine if it's a huge jump or not. I don't really know. Here's a full confession. I've never actually played a Yokai Watch game. So, let's see. Good thing Temtem is coming. I can't believe all the people who defend Game Freak to death saying how this is completely fine and calling us entitled. It's just people have what I think happens with a huge chunk of the Pokemon fan base is they're just accustomed to the way Pokemon games are. And they're not used to expecting better because Pokemon's never really been better. It's just been kind of the same thing over and over. I know, blasphemy, different things, different mechanics. I understand, different stories, different worlds. But, I mean, Pokemon, the base mechanics have largely been the same. So there's just been a lot of, Pokemon's always been this way. This looks like bigger and grander than any Pokemon ever. I can't blame them for being excited. This does look bigger and grander than Pokemon has ever been. So there is legit reasons if you're a longtime Pokemon fan to be excited for Sword and Shield. Of course there is. There's legitimate reasons to be excited. But it's also one of those things that's like, man, you figure for a franchise that's the second best-selling IP of all time, that as someone just as an outsider looking in, that why is this popular again? It's popular because it's fun, but I mean, let's just be honest. Pokemon's fun, so that's why it's popular. But it's one of those things that it's like, man, you look at it and it's like, man, have they ever bothered to reinvest their profits into making a higher quality product? It doesn't really feel like it, right? Like, it doesn't feel like they've invested their profits to make a higher quality product. They've taken their profits and they've just put it elsewhere in Pokemon to keep expanding the IP and merchandise and anime and TV and all that stuff, amusement parks, all that great stuff, instead of like investing it in into making a higher quality product. But people are obviously happy enough to keep buying it. So, as I said, I'm not a multi-billion-dollar company, so I'm doing something wrong. I wonder what you guys would think if I if I made just one video and then grabbed that video, retooled it, repurposed it, and then just kept releasing that video over and over and over again, like once a week. That's the only thing I did. I just took one video. It was the exact same topic, the exact same rhetoric, but like repurposed different visuals, maybe like a new sentence here or there, and then just released it every week. Would that be more popular than the videos I do now? That's a really unfair comparison to Pokemon, but I'm just having some fun. Let me see here. I'm scrolling down. It's not about anything other than you're a rock star. You make sacrifices for your family and still entertain us. I mean, yeah. Let's not be mistaken here. I make money on YouTube, right? Like I make money on my videos. I've already got $5 in donations, from tonight from this live stream. So I made money from this live stream technically tonight. I make money doing what I do. This is a job for me too. It's no longer my primary source of revenue, but it's a job. It's a job. So I don't just do it for the money, of course. I wouldn't be successful if I was just in this for the money, but I have obviously appreciate the money, and it definitely helps my situation. It helps everything. So it also is a nice little motivating thing. Like, you ever feel like, oh man, I don't know if I really want to get up and make a YouTube video. And it's like, hey man, but you know what? You might make $10-15 off that video. Well, all right. I mean, let's see if there's some cool news out there that I want to get passionate about. So money's always been a motivator. Motivates a lot of people. It motivates a lot of athletes to work out as hard as they do. And, but yeah, I obviously enjoy what I do. So, but I don't want it to feel like, oh, I'm sacrificing for my family and then entertaining us. Like I'm just, video games aren't like the most important thing in life, right? Like I really enjoy them. I've been fortunate to be able to play thousands of games over the years, but like, it's not like the most important thing in my life. It's not like, and in terms of importance in my life, it's like, here's like the most important things in my life, like right here. And then here's video games. Like, there's a pretty big gap. So it's a sacrifice, but it's not like I'm sacrificing something that I can't live without kind of thing. Like I'm cool not playing, not buying new games and stuff like that. Like, I'm okay with that. It's okay. There's part of me that smiles a little bit realizing, oh man, I'm not dropping $200 on games this one month. Like, it's kind of like, oh yeah, cool. Why? Oh, because I already spent that money on the Switch. Cool. Let my kids be happy. Let them be gamers. Let the focus be on them in this house playing games instead of on me all the time. Do I get more money from Patreon or from joining on YouTube? That's a very good question. I probably get a bigger percentage. Actually, I know I get a bigger percentage on Patreon versus YouTube membership. But YouTube membership is also an automatic recurring thing, and I get paid differently than through. I like having diversification of revenue. Does that make sense? So I love having a Patreon and having that be really huge, but I also like having members on YouTube. Like, I like to diversify where the money's coming from, because you never know, something could happen to Patreon and then I don't get paid. Something could happen to YouTube and then I don't get paid. I'd rather have the money diversified. So I can't tell you to support on both, but I appreciate when people do that, or if they choose to be a member versus being over there. It doesn't really matter. All of it equals out to you're supporting me. And it doesn't really bother me that Google gets a cut of stuff, because I know how much money it costs to have one video watched by like 1,000 people. So I know what that bandwidth is like, because I used to host video hosting sites like way back in the late 90s, early 2000s. I know what it costs. So I appreciate that Google/YouTube has a decent platform for watching videos anyways. And then they don't charge me for it. Like, Vimeo is a great platform, but if you really want to take advantage of it, you need to pay them. And I get like not like a percentage of revenue. You literally buy a subscription from them, if that makes sense. Baldson60 hits us with another $2 donation. All right. So he says, how much do we have to donate so you can play Mario Maker 2? You are not a charity act. Well, thank you. Your content helps me personally feel better. Zelda lovers need to stick together, dude. Zelda's my favorite IP, man. Anyways, you are providing a great service to us. Thank you. Well, thank you. I'm glad you. I don't know if I consider it a service, but some people do. I guess if you subscribe to me on Patreon or as a member, that obviously it's like a service. So thank you. How much? It's a good question, because you would figure, we need to raise $60 and call it good. it's a little more tricky right now because for my trip to E3, I took out a business loan on PayPal. So right now, 30% of all revenue that goes to PayPal pays back business loans. Until that loan's paid back. That's just how it works. They just literally, any money that gets deposited into your PayPal, boop, 30% cut. That's kind of a thing, and that's fine. Doesn't really bother me. I'll probably be taking out that loan every year for E3. So I think I still owe like $700 on that loan or whatever. So right now, I mean, you think of, okay, X amount minus 30%, that gets me to there. But then you're also paying back part of that loan for E3. So it's like, it's not really your guys' responsibility to do that, right? Like your donation so far, like you donated, the $7. 30% out of that 7 is going to pay off my, pay off that loan. Cause that's just how it works with PayPal. So, and I'm fine with that. I was totally fine with taking out the loan. That's why I stopped asking people to pay for the trip, because they don't have to. So any money I get from YouTube or anything, all of it goes into there, and then 30% is taken out from that, and then I get the rest. So, that balloon emoji is amazing. Amazing. I know. Right now, though, I think Patreon gets deposited into my other checking account and not into PayPal. That's new. I did that for E3. I don't know if I'm going to switch it back to PayPal yet, but right now, Patreon deposits into my personal checking, which I do need to change back because it is business. But there's a business also reason that I need that Patreon money separate. You guys don't want to get into how taxes work with businesses, man. It gets crazy. And trying to separate things out and track everything. Let me see here. Do you care? You do care because you like it, but it's not a priority. Sure, I suppose. I mean, I'd like a lot of things in life, but it's not really, the priorities in my life are my children and my fiance and them being happy. Like those are number one priorities. Obviously, my own happiness is a priority as well because, you can't make other people happy, I feel, if you're not happy, right? Or, people can be happy with you even if that person that you're happy with isn't happy per se. But happiness, I think, is very important. As we've learned with like the Etika stuff and everything, like mental health and happiness, like you can't take that stuff for granted. Video games help sometimes with that, and they still help. I don't have to buy a new video game to be happy or to get happiness. Anyways, let's see here. Nate, what game? And I played a ton of games at E3, which was really cool too. Was that what this question's about? Sorry, my chat. What game impressed you the most at E3? Well, I think you can tell from my gameplay impression videos so far. Still have a few more coming. A few more in the works. I got some audio recorded for it, doing some editing right now. The one that impressed me the most was Luigi's Mansion 3. Luigi's Mansion 3. I mentioned that it might be game of the year for me. It's not perfect because nothing's perfect, but I went into it just expecting it to be solid. I know what Next Level Games is like with Dark Moon, so I'm like, it'll be solid. And I came away with, oh my gosh, this might be my game of the year. I mean, I won't be doing awards this year because I'm not going to be able to play all those games, but Luigi's Mansion 3 is hella good. It is so much better than I ever dreamed Luigi's Mansion could be. And now Luigi's Mansion 1 is my jam, right? And a lot of the reason it's my jam is because of the horror. It was legitimately scary at times. And I don't know that this game is going to have that, but just pure gameplay-wise, puzzle-wise, it's brilliant. And I loved every second I spent. I played that demo twice through. I found all the secrets. Wow. I'm so impressed with that game. I can't wait. Like, if there's any game I might try to find some extra money for this year, it might be that one. God. I just need a release date for it. Now, we obviously know now why we don't have a release date. I didn't make a video on it, but we don't have a release date because Next Level Games hasn't given Nintendo a release date. They have promised it will land this year, but Next Level Games themselves is not giving a release date to Nintendo yet and Nintendo doesn't want to push them on it because Nintendo wants the game to be like, ready when it's ready kind of thing. Nintendo is very good about that, hey, we're not going to force you to, like, If you have to delay it to 2020, fine. But Next Level Games apparently told them that it's coming this year. It's just they aren't at that point towards the end of the development cycle where they're 100% able to say, hey, it'll come in October, when really they might need an extra month and not bring it till November, right? So I think there's an ideal time frame they have internally where they want to get it out by a certain time, but I don't think Next Level Games wants to put all this crunch pressure on them that, hey, we have to. Like, Nintendo doesn't like crunch, so don't be surprised if it's because of that the game gets pushed to early 2020, but I still think it's coming this year, so I'm pumped for that game. Let's see here. You're excited for Mario Maker 2? Nice. Trust and believe. There's no pity. Yeah. Well, I don't think anyone watching right now has any pity. Like, yeah, like I'm living a good life. I'm living like a good life, dude. 2 of my kids have Switches now. Although, obviously my daughter got hers from her biological dad, so that's no sweat off my back, obviously, besides having to deal with the fact that he kind of went behind our backs to do it, and I don't mind that she has one. She just didn't deserve it at that time. There was some stuff going on, but whatever. He always goes over the top and spoils her because he feels guilty for not being there for the first almost 4 years of her life, where I raised her as her only dad. So I don't need to get into that kind of drama. Let's see here. Clan is shockingly coming to Switch. Nice. The first red flag was the graphics, second was the Dynamax thing, third was the music, really bad quality all around. I haven't heard much of the music. From what I've heard, it just sounds like a normal Pokemon music, but I don't really know. Dynamax was all right. I think Dynamax is really cool as raid battles. I don't know about the rest. Like, I got to play Dynamax obviously in the demo, and it's neat, but like, I don't know that it really adds much. I mean, there is strategy it adds, obviously, and super competitive Pokemon players are going to abuse it. If it's even allowed to be used in like the ultra competitive Pokemon scene, if it doesn't get banned. But I don't know. As like just like a casual player, I don't know that it really did much for me. But I do think as a raid battle mechanic, it's really cool. And maybe if it was kept as that, I'd be, I guess, more excited about it. I don't know. Like, I got to use it in a gym battle, and it just kind of felt like, okay, cool. So you Dynamaxed, so I Dynamaxed, and if I Dynamaxed, then you Dynamax. Either way, our Pokemon end up Dynamax at the exact same time. So what's the difference between just facing each other without being Dynamax? More bigger? So the animations are bigger? I guess. I don't know. I mean, I really wasn't super impressed with Dynamaxing. No one's calling you entitled. Well, thanks, Mark. Appreciate the love, man. You've been a long time supporter for just a long time. You're like one of the OG supporters on Patreon. I know you're not supporting on Patreon right now, and for other, whatever's going on in your life, whatever financial commitments or whatever you have going on. But I appreciate you getting me really going. You're pretty much, you were my inspiration, Mark, to even attempt to get community support on Patreon and through donations and super chats and all that. Like, before you, I had nothing community support wise. It was all living on my savings and just hoping I make enough ad revenue. You were the one that really convinced me that community support's not an evil, bad thing. I should actually embrace it. So thank you for that. Even though you're not part of that community support, it's okay. Thank you. I appreciate you've done more than your fair share over the past 2 years, man. So, anyways, I'm just saying I don't care about old Pokemon. I'm excited for the wild area. Can't be mad about not being able to bring over some old Pokemon. I just don't care. So one thing that's weird about the wild area, when I watched that treehouse footage, the wild area seemed to have a lot of Gen 1 Pokemon. So as excited as you are about new Pokemon, the wild area had a lot of Gen 1. So I'm like, yeah, there was some new, but it's kind of like, there's a lot of Gen 1 roaming around here. They're really relying on like what's really super marketable is what it feels like right now from what we've seen. But we'll see. That it was only one part of the wild area. Obviously, there's this the wild area is supposed to be massive, so hopefully it's a lot different if you go to other areas of the wild area. Let me see here. Never played a traditional Pokemon game other than Pokemon Go with my wife and sister. With that being said, I'm excited to play Sword. Yeah, Pokemon Go is fun. And actually today, what Pokemon Go is today is actually great. I mean, I wish it would what it is today. I wish it was this way at launch. But whatever. Pokemon Go is still good fun. I still bust it out every once in a while. And when I'm usually when I'm in the park, just because I know there's a lot of Pokemon and a lot of Pokestops and gyms and stuff like that. In my area, like when I go for walks, even when you pop like candies or other things, you don't get a lot of Pokemon popping up. It's just not a very densely populated area, and I've noticed that Pokemon Go works best when you're in a more densely populated area. It doesn't really work when you're out in the country, kind of thing. Let's see here. Every time Pokemon tweets on Twitter, 90% of the comments are bring back National Dex. Well, it is rather wild because it is a reply for every tweet. Yeah, I mean, fans are really vocal in Pokemon. They've always been pretty vocal. So, does that mean a National Dex is going to come back? I have no idea. I think it's the least concerning thing in the game, in my opinion. But it is a big deal to longtime Pokemon fans. I understand why it's a big deal. Like, there's never been a game that didn't eventually let you port in all your Pokemon. So, and of course, the first game to do it has to be the first ever home console HD Pokemon game. That's like a new generation. I know Let's Go exists, but like a new generation. It's like, sorry. I think that also is leading to even more backlash than normal. Like if they did this in Sun and Moon, the backlash today for it wouldn't be that big. But, Pokemon is not just the video games. The Pokemon was only ever just the video games for like a year. And then the anime came, trading cards, all that stuff. I know. I'm excited for Bloodstained Ritual of the Night. You get your Kickstarter copy of Switch tomorrow. Nice. I haven't seen anything of it, but I've heard good things about it. I've heard very good things about Bloodstained. So I am very hopeful that everyone that plays it ends up being pretty thrilled. It feels like one of those Kickstarter projects that actually delivers, and that's a big deal because a lot of games that are like kickstarted don't end up delivering on their promises. Hello, Mighty Number 9. So it's nice to see that this is a Kickstarter project that actually looks like it's going to deliver or has delivered. So, like, awesome. I'm very happy for people who backed it and are getting a really amazing game. As a result, we have a new follower on Twitch. I don't think we're live on Twitch, so that's a random new follower on Twitch. Let me go check. I'm pretty like 99.9% sure we are not live on Twitch. Yeah, we are not. Somehow I got a new follower on Twitch. They must have clicked on the link probably down in the description. Normally I also am live on Twitch, but not tonight. I don't know why. I just didn't. I don't know. Just didn't set it up. And now there's like this new thing in Streamlabs OBS where this Mob Crush app that I might be able to use to stream on Twitch as well. I don't know. I gotta change some things up. Let's see here. Ocarina of Time, Discovered Sword. We saw gradual small improvements until a giant leap with Breath of the Wild. This Pokemon game just reeks of laziness. Yeah, like, and we saw leaps with Zelda like before Ocarina of Time. Like you had Zelda 1 to Zelda 2, completely different. Then they kind of returned to form with A Link to the Past / Link's Awakening, kind of, okay, hey, let's like take the best of both games, put it all together and like make these amazing experiences. And then they had a massive, jump with Ocarina of Time. And then, yeah, it did kind of float for a while. You can argue the Wind Waker kind of changed things up a bit with the sea and the art style and all that. And then obviously the touchscreen controls for Phantom Hourglass and all that stuff. But traditional top-down Zelda just kind of continued to persist. And home consoles kind of like Twilight Princess kind of felt like going back to what Ocarina of Time started. Skyward Sword did the whole motion control thing. But yeah, I mean, Zelda's always been a little bit more experimental than Pokemon on the whole, in my opinion. And obviously Breath of the Wild was just another huge leap into, hey, we're just going full open world and just going all out like we did in Zelda 1. So it's great to see that happen. So it would be nice to see that giant leap with Pokemon. Right now, I think this is a leap. I think it's just a small one, though, right? I think this is just a minor step forward. This is the X and Y leap, basically. X and Y was like the big graphical leap or whatever, right? The last one. And like this is like that, but, you know, with a little bit of open world stuff. Like it's not even the whole game's open world. It's just like the wild areas open. So, as I said, it's kind of like, it's a step forward. It's just not the Ocarina of Time, the Mario 64, the I'm trying to think of another mobile like even Fire Emblem. I know Fire Emblem was originally on home consoles, but like I don't like it just feels like it's not that leap that people were expecting. Or maybe people weren't expecting it, but maybe people hoped that it would be because we've seen this with other Nintendo games in the past. But what are you going to do? You know? Things are what they are. And this isn't Nintendo doesn't actually own the whole of Game Freak. They have an ownership stake, but they don't own the whole studio. So it's not even like Retro Studios where like Nintendo could be like, or you know, hey, you know, do this, do that. Like Nintendo doesn't really control Game Freak, so they can suggest to the Pokemon Company and Game Freak to take more time. They can suggest things, but Nintendo doesn't really control them. It's not like even Next Level Games. Like Nintendo doesn't own Next Level Games. But they're making Luigi's Mansion 3, which is a wholly owned Nintendo IP. So Nintendo can tell Next Level Games whatever the hell they want to tell them because Nintendo's paying for that game to be made. Nintendo's not paying for Sword and Shield to be made. So, well, I'm thankful you have another form of income. I know it's crazy. Yeah, thanks. You guys are awesome, man. Thank you so much for your support. The $7 so far tonight. We actually had a new or a returning Patreon subscriber earlier in the day as well. That was it was nice to see them come back. So what's the new job? Do I dare tell you what the new job is? Do I dare tell you? Let's wait. I'm gonna wait to tell you guys because I am in the midst of training, and I'm not sure if I'm keeping this job. But obviously, I'm getting paid right now. It's paid training and everything. So once we get past all that and I decide if I want to keep it, then I'll tell you guys. Because there's other opportunities. I'm still applying for other jobs. That's how like not really locked into this one I am. And they know. I told them that like, hey, like you know, I might stay. I'm not sure. I'm still looking at all my options out there. But yeah. So we'll see. I don't really want to talk about the new job quite yet. But it is only 30 hours a week. Does have benefits. That's why you guys are still seeing me do a lot of stuff. Still. Because it's not eating up all of my time. By the way, how do we contact you? I have you and Nintendo Prime on Twitter. If you tweet at me or DM the Nintendo Prime account, I'll probably be more likely to respond than the Nate Jantz one. Just because I'm on that one more than I am on my personal one. You can also email me, nathan@nintendoprime.net. Yeah, those are like, or you can send me like fan mail or like a fan letter to the P.O. Box. Although I do have to renew the P.O. Box this month. And right now I don't have the money to do that. So that's something I got to get sorted out within a week. Yeah, a week from now. I got to somehow get like an extra $70 to renew the P.O. Box, which I will figure that out. I'm for sure going to get that renewed because you guys have been sending some amazing stuff. I actually have... grab it right now. Actually, have fan mail right here. I know it's a diaper box, but as you guys might see, it says Fun Box 3. This was sent in by Michael. Whole bunch of stuff in here that I don't know. I haven't opened it really yet, besides just to make sure that there's nothing missing. Anyways, that was sent to my P.O. Box. And I will be doing a Nate's Stuff video on that. So like people have been taking advantage of the P.O. Box, so I'm gonna get that renewed. And it's the only thing I pay for like twice a year. Probably should eventually just do it yearly, and just renew it every year instead of every 6 months. But whatever. But bare minimum, even if I don't do it, even if I don't come up with the 70 to do it every 6 months, I could just like do a month-to-month renewal as well, and just do it for like 15 or whatever, and just be done with it for now and deal with it later. My My problem is buying games from limited run games since January. Have about 1K in games waiting to be manufactured and shipped. It's kind of crazy. That is kind of crazy, man. Hey, there's someone who wants to be banned. One, I don't weigh 500 pounds. Thank you so much for that comment. I do not weigh 500 pounds. I'm not asking anyone for anything. And I do have a job. And playing Nintendo stuff's not really soy boy related. So I don't... Some people are just dumb. Alright, moving on. Surprised that Mark didn't grab that person. That I actually had to take care of that. He deserves to play Mario Maker 2. Who agrees? Let's see here. It's, if possible, it's better to pay PayPal off as soon as you can. Yeah, for a few months it'll be extra tight, but once you get paid off, things will be so much easier on you. Yeah, it's easy to say that when you fill up when you don't have a family of 5 that you're supporting. So like, it's easy to be like, oh, just take all of your Patreon money, all of your YouTube money, and just pay it off. But I need that money. Like, that doesn't pay my bills. So it's fine. It's not a big deal. Don't gotta worry about it. Things are being taken care of. It's all good. Does anyone have an update on Etika? The only update there is, it's okay, Mark. I grabbed it. It was a very obvious like ban. There was no even question of it. Does anyone have an update on Etika? Basically, he put up that obviously the suicide video and note, and then he his wallet, Switch, backpack, a few other personal belongings were found alongside a bridge, and it's presumed obviously that he jumped, but no one really knows. They're looking, they're obviously dragging the river, which is a really hard river to find bodies in, to see if his body's in there, which would obviously be a very sad ending. But we don't actually know anything other than that. It could be staged. It could be he could have got mugged. It could be a billion things. At this point, everyone's hoping for the best. And the best would probably be that he's still alive and he is trying to get away from everyone. And I don't know. I really don't know. I mean, the best scenario is that he's alive, period. So I think a lot of people are probably assuming at this point, though, that's... I mean, it's pretty damning when all your stuff's at the edge of a bridge. And then... So it's... A lot of people have lost hope. And I understand why. But mental health, man. You got to take it seriously, guys. It's a serious thing. Get help. Life is worth living. Get help. Let's see here. Liked your reaction to Breath of the Wild 2. Shut up, Doug Bowser. Yeah, what were the exact words again? Shut up, Doug Bowser. Nobody wants to hear you. It was much better in the actual live reaction, but yeah. I'm waiting for someone to meme the hell out of that. Like, I'm waiting for someone to meme the shut up Bowser thing. Every time I rewatch that reaction, I'm like, dude, that's classic right there. Like, I can't meme myself. Someone else has to do it. It is classic. The shut up Doug Bowser. But yeah, I'm glad you like that that one. I genuine reaction, man. What can I say? Totally caught me off guard. What can we do as a community? If this guy had a Mario Maker to stream, just saying could be a big thing. Well, the thing with Mario Maker, my original plan when I was going to get it was I was going to have our patrons, any of our patrons that got it, create levels. And then I also was going to have a community post where the public could create levels as well. So just in case I didn't get enough patron levels. And then I would do live streams trying to beat your levels. You could submit your levels to me and I would try to beat them on stream. And I'm not like crazy super good at Mario. So like all those really super hard ones, I basically never will beat. But I could feature it. And other people might want to try to beat it and download it too. So it'd be one of those neat little community things we could do. But that was like an original plan I had like a month back. And then obviously that changed when I decided, well, you know what, I'm just not buying games the rest of the year, which is fine. So, but yeah, I mean, Mario Maker's I mean, I'm glad that people are really, really excited for Mario Maker 2, man. The original Mario Maker was great. Even on 3DS. Sucked about the online on 3DS for it, but... let's see here. Do you think new Switches are coming? Yes, I do. When do I think the release dates? Well, right now, September seems to be the date floating around for the Mini. Pro, I don't think is probably coming this year. I think that'll be next year sometime. If I were to get you a game, would you agree to do a review on it since I bought it? No. I'm just gonna flat out and say no. We have a stretch goal, obviously, on Patreon right now to do reviews. I can't remember what it even is off the top of my head. It's been a while since I've looked at what the new stretch goals are. The stretch goal to do reviews is 600. Yeah, it looks like 600. So it's a ways away from happening. The reason I say that is like I don't want people to buy me games. Like, hey, I bought you Link's Awakening. Hey, I bought you Astral Chain. Hey, I bought you this. Now you must review the game. Like, buying me games is great, right? Like, it's awesome. I appreciate it. I don't expect it. I don't tell people to do it. If they do it of their own volition, I can't stop them. But I don't like guaranteeing reviews because that means I'm guaranteeing you time. It means what you're telling me is you bought me this game, and because you bought me this game, I owe you 100 hours to play the game, plus another 20 hours of actually reviewing it and then editing, and I owe you that time. And for something that when I put it up, monetary wise, I'm getting next to nothing. I'll make a few bucks on that review. And all that time that I could have used on other content at the channel that actually makes me money and actually supports what I do. So it's one of those things where, yeah, I'll play the game because I want to play it or because now I own it. But I can't guarantee reviews like that. That would be insane. Now, that's why I have that stretch goal. So you want to buy me a game and also we happen to be at $600 a month, then yeah, I might end up reviewing that game because I got to do a game review every month. But again, we're a long ways away from me even worrying about game reviews right now. So I don't really want to, like, it's not going to say I wouldn't ever do a random review here or there, but I just don't like the idea of making that like an expectation people can have where you buy me a game and then I review it. Like I'm not, and the thing is, that might sound a little selfish. Dude, someone bought you a game. Why wouldn't you review it? I didn't ask them to buy me a game. Like, I'm not telling people to buy me games. So I don't want to feel like I owe people because you bought me a game. Like, if you bought me a game, great. But I don't want to owe you something for it, right? Like, that's what Patreon's for. Like, if you're a supporter on Patreon, you back at a certain level, I owe you whatever that level says I owe you. And whatever the stretch goals say I owe. That's what I owe. I have to pay that. I have to pay that forward and commit to do it and do what I owe on Patreon. I don't want people like buying me things and then like thinking they can buy my time doing that, right? Like, that's not really how I want it to work. I don't know. I'm not offended by the question. I just want to throw it out there, like, why it might sound weird for me to say, no, I'm not going to get, like, why wouldn't you? I don't want people to think they can just buy my time like that. Like, that's not a smart use of my time, so I'm not going to do it. But obviously, if we're at that level on Patreon, that's different because now I can afford to spend that time to make it, even if the actual review doesn't get a lot of views. It doesn't matter because I have the community support to financially afford to spend that time, if that makes sense. Not that I'm not going to play the game anyways, but when you play a game for review, it is different than just playing the game when you feel like it, when you have time. You do put yourself on a schedule. You are trying to play the game over the course of 1 week instead of spending months and months and months doing it and stuff like that. So it is a big time sink and a lot of dedication that takes away from other things you might be doing. Anyways, but I mean, I guess that's the answer to your question. 59 watching, only 20 likes. Hit that like button, subscribe, share it around, all that good stuff. Head over to patreon.com/NintendoPrime. You can back for as little as $1 a month. Hit that join button, become a member. I think it's $5 a month to do that. Get the Nintendo Prime Nation pumping. Join the Nintendo Prime Nation officially, beyond just being a subscriber. Be becoming a supporter. And when you become a supporter, you get to join that Nintendo Prime Nation. I don't really know. I don't know. I never pump myself up like that anymore. So, any thoughts on the Switch Mini? I personally think it could be my primary Switch if it has docking capabilities. I don't really care about it. Never really cared about it. But if it has a new faster thing in it, I'll probably pick it up. But, I mean, I don't know if I'll pick it up this year, to be honest. My budget's gone. But it is something that I think is neat for people that are interested in a smaller Switch. I am not interested in a smaller Switch. So, the world of gameplay and Shield look great. Cool. I'm glad that you like that. It doesn't have a lot of new Pokemon because they haven't announced most of the new Pokemon. Obviously, they don't want to show them, so they replaced them in the demo. Maybe. I mean, I don't know why they can't show them. The game comes out in, a handful of months here. There's no reason to really hold back, but they do what they do. I wish Nintendo would be more ambitious with remakes. Link's Awakening looks like just a reskin of the original game in comparison to Trials of Mana. Looks like an evolution of the original. I think there's two sides to the fence on remakes and remasters. Some people prefer like the Trials of Mana, or I'd say a better example is Final Fantasy VII. Final Fantasy VII is a 100% departure from what the original game was. Completely new combat system, completely new perspectives and controls and everything. Like it's just, it basically just took what Final Fantasy VII was and made a new Final Fantasy VII game with the Final Fantasy VII characters and story and world. And it looks fantastic, looks amazing, looks epic. But I also don't think that there's anything wrong with the Link's Awakening approach, which is a more faithful remastering, right? I don't think there's anything wrong with that either. I think there's a place for both to exist. And I actually really enjoyed my time with the Link's Awakening demo, and I kind of liked that it was faithful because it was my first ever Zelda game, and I'm really attached to my first ever Zelda game. And because of that, I don't really want a massive departure from what I played because then it's just not the same game anymore. See, I personally, as someone who never played Final Fantasy VII, I am stoked over that Final Fantasy VII remake. But Link's Awakening, I don't really want that kind of thing done to it. So, but that's a personal thing, of course. I say that now. If they took Link's Awakening and made it into a fully 3D Ocarina of Time game, who knows? I might think differently, but it doesn't exist, so I don't know what to tell you. I'm pretty happy with the way Link's Awakening is. I do think it probably should have been a $40 game, but they know they can get away with $60, and that's why they're selling it at that. But that's just business. And I've never played Trials of Mana, so I don't really have an opinion either way on it. It was me who followed you on Twitch. Matthew Campos. Thank you so much for following me on Twitch. Elite Dangerous and the Banner Saga are prime examples of Kickstarters that delivered. Yeah. I mean, there's other Kickstarters who have delivered, of course. There's just a lot of examples of ones that didn't. So I'm always happy when I see a Kickstarter come through and actually work. Because I think there is a lot of issues with there's an issue with fundings for YouTube channels, let alone funding for people who are actually making games. So I think it's great when a Kickstarter turns out it works for everyone, works for the backers and works for the developers, and everything just goes, maybe not always without a hitch, but goes off where the end product ends up being worth the patience and the money and all that. Do I like Batman movies? I sure do. Batman Begins and The Dark Knight, I sure love those ones. You know it. The entire Dark Knight saga I loved. I also love the old school ones, like the Tim Burton Batman movies. I am a big fan of Batman, yes. Mitch GS says, I know this is kind of random, but I'm thinking of buying a Switch, and you seem like an expert. All right. Should I look for a bundle, Switch with a game, or just buy the Switch? A lot easier to find. If you're in the used market, if you're willing to buy used, you can find Switch and games pretty easy. It's all about making sure you test out the product. Like if you Craigslist it, making sure you test it out before you actually give them any money, stuff like that. If it's an eBay reseller, at least there's eBay guarantees there. An Amazon reseller, there's Amazon guarantees. If the product ends up not being what it's supposed to be, you can get your money back. If you want to buy new, which a lot of people prefer just having brand new products, It's one of those things where bundles are often not really cheaper than just buying the system and buying the game on its own. It's basically the same price. So a better option is that, well, basically the only reason to buy a bundle brand new is because you like the customization that's been done to the Switch or the dock, or you like the unique Joy-Con colors that you can't get through any other method. That's really the only reason to really do that. Like if you want the Super Smash Bros. Bundle, they're never going to rerun that one. So you're going to have to pay aftermarket prices like $400, $500 for it. But you do get a really cool customized Switch and dock. So it's all about what's worth to you. Personally, if you just care about owning the Switch and playing the games, go to Nintendo.com. Go to their store. There's a refurbished section in their store selling Nintendo refurbished Switches, which are basically like buying brand new Switches. They put all new parts and stuff when they refurb, and it's not aftermarket crap. They put the original parts in, and they sell them for like $270. Buy that, then go buy the games you want to buy. That's the best way and the cheapest way to get a Switch right now. That is basically a brand new Switch, and because you bought it from the Nintendo online store, you actually also get the Nintendo warranty. So you still get the same warranty you do if you bought it brand spanking new. So. Retro Dip also just went over and followed on Twitch. Thanks, man. As I said, normally my streams are on both. I'm thinking, though, this is something I'm throwing out here. I don't expect a lot of you guys in the chat to agree with this, but I'm kind of debating on, because I don't do a lot of game streams on my channel. So I'm kind of thinking, like, I might take it when I do game streams, just do them exclusively on Twitch. What do you guys think about that? There's not really a reason to me not to put them on YouTube, I guess. But I will say it's really hard for me to follow both chats. I know there's like apps to combine everything, but it just turns into a mess. And there's like things I can do with streams on Twitch I can't do on YouTube, just little games and other things I can do. I don't know. I'm just spitballing. Maybe I shouldn't even worry about it because I don't really have a following on Twitch anyways, but it also diversifies. So like if something, as an example, happens like at E3 where my channel is no longer able to stream, well, I have all of you guys over on Twitch, so it's not a big deal, right? That would be kind of the reason. That's me wanting to diversify my audience, I guess is the way to put it. But and it's easier to find new people on Twitch with game streams than it is talking streams. Some water in my throat here. Drying up a little. And also Breath of the Wild 2 already has a rating in Europe. Is that different? Will they change the rating later? I don't think a build has been submitted yet for rating. So I think they're just basing the rating on Breath of the Wild. I think it'll change in the future if it needs to change. It probably won't. It'll probably be rated the same. But ketchup chips. I still have the ketchup chips. The old Dutch ketchup chips are still here. They're literally up on my gaming shelf. I have not done a talking video in front of my gaming shelves, well, really since before E3. So the next video that I do that features my gaming shelves will have the old Dutch ketchup potato chips there. Brand new bag, unopened. They will remain unopened. Let's see here. Hey, Yulia, how's it going? How's it going, babe? The podcast didn't happen. Obviously, I'm streaming on my channel. Poor guy. Advanced Media Network. Good dude. He's handicapped and everything, man. I don't know how he does it. On dialysis. A bunch of people bailed that were going to be on, so the podcast didn't happen. That's basically why it didn't happen. So I feel bad for him, but I told him I'll be available anytime he could make it happen and get the people on that he wants. I'll make the time as long as it doesn't even if it overlaps with the Nintendo Prime podcast. I'll move my podcast and make it happen. So he's just a good dude. Guys, for those who don't know, Advanced Media Network, he sent me my $400 4K capture card that I'm using right now for this live stream. This camera here, this high quality, the reason this looks so good compared to other people's live streams, part of it is I have really good internet, but the other part is I'm using a 4K capture card to literally take a 4K image from my main recording camera and downsample that to 1080p for the streams. An amazing guy who sent me that when I was having issues with my capture card out of the kindness of his heart. And he's just a good dude. In general, him and I have private DMs, I don't know, every single week. He's just a really good guy. He cares about video games, cares about technology. And he's going through a lot, so. Let me see here. Nintendo should do what Valve does on Steam. You can sell in-game items for real money. That gets real. I don't want to see that. I don't like that Valve does that either. Valve has had a lot of issues come up because of that too. How about this? What game do you think, if I bought, you would put the most time into? Man, okay, is that why? Is it because you didn't want to have like another Resident Evil, whatever it was, whatever Resident Evil game I think you bought me that I still play once in a blue moon, but I obviously haven't put a ton of hours into. I guess you don't want to feel like you're wasting your money. I understand that. I will never tell you to buy me games, but obviously Luigi's Mansion 3 for me, I had ranked as my top, like, could be game of the year kind of thing. And a Zelda game I always put time into, so Link's Awakening. But I mean, that's the thing. Like, I don't want to like tell you to buy me games. But I mean, those are just games that I've obviously been talking about a lot. Collection of Mana, like Secret of Mana, I know on that. Well, the thing is, I haven't played Trials at all. I haven't played the third or the Secret of Mana sequel. I haven't played that, but Collection of Nate. Late night, I apologize. No filter lately. It's okay. What's a filter? Well, Clayton, because of the YouTube's policies, I try not to. I don't really punish people if they swear, but I try to like remind people, hey, try not to swear during the streams because YouTube doesn't really like that stuff, and it gets videos like demonetized, and it's whatever. I mean, I'm not gonna yell at my fiance because she said a swear word. It's whatever. She knows. Let's see here. What if the review for the game is just a tweet? I just tweet a one-line tweet. A one-line tweet. Buy Astral Chain. It's amazing. 4 out of 5. What other hobbies do I have? Sports. You can see it in the background. Giannis Antetokounmpo. I love watching sports. I love playing sports games, but I love playing sports. Whenever I get a chance to, I like to play sports. I don't get that opportunity very often, but it could be from anywhere from volleyball to basketball to whatever. That's another big hobby. I suppose, I don't want to call reading a hobby, but I have a book series I'm really into, by Terry Goodkind. But I don't really want to call it a hobby because that's pretty much the only thing I read is like I've read the whole Harry Potter series. I'm working on this Terry Goodkind series, and a few others, but it's not something that I dedicate much time to. It's just something I read once in a while. Will your wedding be Zelda themed? I mean, if she wants to dress as Princess Zelda, I'll bring my Master Sword. We'll make it happen. With the power of the Triforce compels me. Wait, maybe I need the big Urn sword. Maybe the Master Sword's not good enough. Anyways. Let's see here. Nintendo Prime. I read Apple is in trouble in Europe for revenue sharing. Apple posted an article on what happened with Spotify on their website. Oh, I have no idea. I didn't really read about that. Nate, is Astral Chain really all it's hyped up to be? Sorry, I know I skipped ahead. I just happened to see that question. We didn't get to play it at E3. So what you've been able to see is what I've been able to see. It looks phenomenal. They just did like a 10-minute little showcase in Japan for it. And oh my gosh, does it look good. Everything about the game looks amazing. And what can give you some hope that the final version is everything it's cracked up to be is this is Platinum Games. And I can't recall a single Platinum Games game that didn't deliver. Even the Wonderful 101 didn't get a lot of hype, but the game is amazing. Like, they just don't make bad games so far. At least none that I can think of, that I'm even aware of. Platinum Games just makes great games. Great games that always fly under the radar and hardly anyone plays, but they make great games. So I'm not worried about Astral Chain not delivering. Why don't I put my content on? I don't even know what that is. Is that a joke? Graphics Don't Matter Games do? Is that like a place that exists? That feels like you're joking. I mean, the rest of your thing seems fine, but it feels like you're joking with that comment. Let's see here. They always hold back Pokemon. It's what they do. Okay. Yeah. Let me see here. Wait a minute. I didn't know Luigi's Mansion 3 was being developed in Vancouver. I didn't know that studio was contracted to do a Nintendo exclusive. I guess they are not second party. They are a 100% independent company. Nintendo has no ownership of Next Level Games. But yeah, they've been making games for Nintendo for like a decade? Something like that? It's been a while. Hey, $5 donation comes in from Matthew Campos. He says, rank these games you are most hyped for to play in order. Collection of Mana, Witcher 3 on Switch, Luigi's Mansion 3, Astral Chain, Link's Awakening. Holy crud. Link them in order. And Clayton Miller, back to back. We get a $5 super chat. Thank you so much, Clayton Miller, for your $5 support. Holy crud. Matthew Campos just spur on a donation spree coming. I have no idea, but thank you guys for that support. I really appreciate it. Rank these games. Let me see. Collection of Mana is probably going to be last, just because. I mean, I am excited about the one Trials of Mana or whatever that I never played, but then they're also remastering that, so then it's like, you know. Well, let's see here. Luigi's Mansion 3 right now is my most hyped game for the rest of the year. So that's number one. This is going to feel weird, but oddly enough, hey, Corey Bohm with the $2 Canadian. Needs more shots. I don't have any booze, guys. I can't do any. I don't have anything. I'm out. I'm tapped. There's nothing. My fridge is empty. There's some Twisted Tea upstairs. I hate Twisted Tea. I just don't like tea. Oh, you notice how it doesn't say shots for donations? I'm out. I got to get some more stuff. Let's see here. Okay, so what did I have? I had Luigi's Mansion 1. Collection of Mana probably at the end. Let's go Witcher 3 too. Now, it feels weird, but I never beat Witcher 3, and I didn't buy all the DLC, so I'm really excited for Witcher 3 on Switch. So I'm going to put that at number 2. Yes, folks, ahead of Link's Awakening. In fact, I probably will put Astral Chain ahead of Link's Awakening as well. Brand new game. I think new games always need to come before ports and remasters. So Collection of Mana is like a port. Link's Awakening is a remaster, which I'm excited to play it, of course. But so Collection of Mana, then Link's Awakening, then Astral Chain, just because Astral Chain looks off the hook. But Witcher 3, I already know is like an all-time great game, but I've never beat. I own it on PC. I never beat it, and I never bought all the DLC. So Switch is going to give me an opportunity to really play through all that. So yeah, Luigi's Mansion, Witcher 3, Astral Chain, Link's Awakening, then Collection of Mana. But like they're all great. Like this is like you're asking me to like I don't know, rip hairs off my testicles and decide which one I like the best. Like they're all fantastic. What a weird why did my mind immediately jump to hair on like hairy balls? Why Nate? What's going on? Welcome to 11 p.m. Central Standard Time. Didn't even need to have shots for that comment to come out. Fun times. Yeah, it's not. Yeah, graphics don't matter. Games do. I know your comment's hidden because I mean, yeah, look what you're saying, but obviously it's not real. I was like, there's no way in heck that's a real place. All right, let me see here. What does my end say? Well, right now I say 53 live watching, but it's been bouncing all over. Let me see. Zoned out for a few minutes. What happened to the podcast you were supposed to be on later tonight? Oh, as I mentioned, a bunch of his guests kind of bailed, so he's postponing it till later. Let's see here. I'm trying to get through the questions I missed. Do you name each hair on my balls? No, I don't. Yes, this is well, God, what do they say in Anchorman? Like John Westfall and something else that he names his balls. Can't believe I don't remember the exact names. Oh, come on, mouse. My mouse is acting up because it's weird. Okay, so I have a wireless dongle for this mouse. It's plugged in, right? But like, I don't know. I think I'm not gonna be able to use my wireless mouse with my computer anymore. It's okay. I have a wired mouse. I just don't have it plugged in right now. I saw a streamer show Google Maps, and the walkway would be hard to see from your car, especially at night. The walkway? You never know when the game's announced to go for sale on their site. Yeah, the walkway. What walkway are we talking about? Ridiculous with a ridiculous question. Ridiculous, for those who don't know, he's a YouTuber who criticized me earlier this year. Are you finally helping your wife financially? Dude, I've been the breadwinner of this family for 8 years. I've never not been helping. In fact, I've been primarily the one paying the bills. So, but whatever, man. He's someone who likes to find things to criticize, so that's kind of his shtick. Someone said that at E3 to shut up. What are you talking about? This is obviously old conversations. So, let's see here. How do you feel about amount of views you've been getting? Also, do you feel E3 is worth the cost? The amount of views I've been getting, great. The views have been awesome this month. I mean, they're always awesome for E3. Whether I go or not, they're always pretty good views. As for, do I feel E3 was worth it for the cost? Absolutely. Nothing beats getting connections. Nothing beats meeting up with people who you talk to all year but never get to see. And obviously nothing beats the content that I get to make. And the content I make, I feel helps differentiate me from other channels like Player Essence and Spawn Wave and other ones that kind of do similar things to me. Obviously, I am the differentiator in all of it, but it is nice having content. And there's a thing about going hands-on with games that I think helps with me being able to talk about them, especially in a year like this year where I won't be really buying a bunch of games. It's nice that I went hands-on, so I actually have something to kind of use as a basis for conversation with a bunch of these games. Like, I can still talk about Luigi's Mansion 3 whether I buy the game or not, because I did get actually a chance to go hands on with it for a little bit. So it is nice. T.T, the $10 donation, saying, "Here's to you, man. Keep it up." Thank you, man. $10 make you holla. I know, totally unoriginal. What can I say? I'm corny as hell. Thank you so much for the support, T.T. Let's see here. March 2020. Oh, you're talking about Animal Crossing, right? Man, I'm so behind the chat. I always am. I have the chat live over here, like $38 for Mario Maker 2. Guys, that's not exactly how it works. Did you guys not remember what I said about the donations? That's not exactly how it works. Anyways, man, you're so behind the chat. Always am when it comes to how happy is your wife about you finally getting a job to support her. Wow, ridiculous. I've been supporting her and the kids. They've never not been supported, man. Nintendo should do what Valve does on Steam. You can sell in-game items for real money. I think I read that already. All right, scroll down here. Zoned out for a few minutes. I don't know. I already read that. What's your most anticipated game for 2019? My most anticipated game for 2019? That was Luigi Mansion 3. Finally caught up to where Yulia chimed in. Do I have a swear jar? No, I don't. I thought about it. She's been cussing like a sailor, even around the kids lately. It's been She's been having a hard time with her filter. So I thought about, I should have a swear jar. I could pay for all my games with that. Put $1 in every time. By the end of the day, I could buy one. I could buy a full $60 game. Please don't put anything exclusively on Twitch. It's not as good software. What? Not as good software. No swords. They are banned. Let's see here. Nate, would I finish Astral Chain? I can't guarantee finishing any game that I get, or that I buy. I mean, I always plan to finish games when I get them, but you know how it goes as gamers. Like, you always plan to finish a game, and sometimes you don't. So I can't guarantee anything. You know, I haven't played Astral Chain, but it looks really great. Yeah, Astral Chain wasn't anything. Your camera's bugging out every time I move fast. Yeah, I don't have it on. It's on 30 FPS right now. I'll probably bump it to 60 FPS for the next stream. So then it's smoother. So when I do, I mean, on my end, it looks fine. Like, I'm moving really fast and everything looks fine on my end. But that's on my end. That's not on your guys' end. Everything could be different for you guys. One thing I also thought, maybe I should take the camera and move it down here, because I always look down from the camera to look at the chat. It might look like I'm looking at you guys more if the camera's lower, because right now the camera's above. I don't know. Just something for me to maybe consider in the future. Maybe moving the camera. I mean, ideally the camera's eye level, like right here. Here would be eye level with me, but I don't know if I could do that. You know what? With I have a new little mini tripod. Maybe I can move my monitors over and have it like right in the middle. That is something to consider. Something to consider. Get rid of that box back there. Just have just the tripod and have it be. Yeah. I might play with that in the future. I'm not gonna do it now because then I'll touch things. Next thing you know, the stream will crash. Let's see here. Why not have a Nintendo of America Inc. acquire the studio? They don't have any interest in being acquired. Next Level Games has talked about that in interviews in the past. They don't want to be acquired. So, everyone go watch SpongeBob and be happy. There's my fiance. Are you not? Did it get you out of the anger zone, honey? I bet you it did. SpongeBob is amazing. I should almost ban you for that comment, Epic Pew. SpongeBob is not dead. I'm probably subconsciously thinking of the horse song when I mentioned the balls. The hairy balls. Oh, jeez. Manhattan Bridge. Yep. Good order, Nate. I would have originally thought you would have wanted Collection of Mana on Switch the most because it's one of your all-time favorite. Well, yeah. I mean, it's the Secret of Mana stuff is my second favorite game of all time. But, like, I've played it a bunch. So, like, yeah, it's great. And I'll replay it again eventually. But it's not like something I'm, like, yearning. Oh, my gosh, I got to replay that. I mean, there's just like Breath of the Wild. Like, I played the hell out of Breath of the Wild. It's not something every day I wake up and I'm like, oh, man, I got to go play Breath of the Wild. But it's the sequel to it I've never played. And everyone keeps telling me that the sequel to Secret of Mana is better, and I don't know because I never played it. So like, there's a part of me that's got this really curious side to me that really wants to try it out because it's never been brought to the West in English. So there is part of me that really wants to play that, but then I also know subconsciously it's being remastered next year. So like, should I just wait for the remaster? I don't know. Let's see here. Do you think Arlo is a puppet controlled by a puppet master, or do you think Arlo is a literal person in a costume? Puppet. Like 99% sure he's a puppet. He's at meetups and stuff, and it very much looked like he was a puppet, not a person putting on a costume. Could be wrong. It could be big enough that it's an actual costume, but I don't think so. Not the way the mouth moves. But hey, it could be completely wrong on that front. I'm not like I'm an expert at it. Arlo is real. Not a puppet at all. or a costume. It's a real person. Have I ever played a Xenoblade game? Yes, I've played Xenoblade Chronicles, Xenoblade X, and Xenoblade Chronicles 2. Haven't beaten any of them, but I've put in good amount of hours in X and the original, and then I'm not very far in Xenoblade Chronicles 2. Honestly, that's one of my backlog games I should spend a bunch of time this year and actually take care of, because I really do want to beat that game. It's just JRPGs are such a time sink. Such a time sink. Get that Mario Maker 2. Don't make the chat blue. Can you ban who? What, Ridiculous? Nah, don't worry about him. Let it go. You sure it looks like one of the costumes puppet that size? Jim Henson wanted that. Cost a fortune. Do the swear jar. How many views would it get for streaming SpongeBob episodes before Nickelodeon catches on? I don't know. Probably like 30, 40,000 before they probably catch on and then report my channel. Do you like Secret of Mana more than Wind Waker? Yes, I do. I'm negative? No, I don't think you're talking about someone else. Love you, hon. See you in bed. I'm going to keep SpongeBob alive for a whole... SpongeBob's amazing. I love SpongeBob. Did I take part of the Sega sale for Sonic games? It is his 28th birthday today. Is it? It's funny. Is it? You would know, Sonic Man. Obviously, it is. It's his 28th birthday today. Well, that must be why I'm wearing a Sega shirt, huh? Sega. Not really. That was totally unplanned. Why I did not know it was his 28th birthday, 20th anniversary. Cool. But no, I did not partake in any sort of Sega sale because I don't have money for games. Monty hits us with the $9.99 super chat, and I said it before the notification came in. And there it is. Roses are red. Monty Mole is too, because his cheeks blush when he sees someone as handsome as you. Aw. It's the dimple, isn't it? This dimple here has gotten me far in life. All I gotta do is just smile, just ever so slightly, and that dimple comes in. People see that, and they just melt in my hands. If you're trying to make me blush, it's not going to work, but cool. That is definitely one of the most unique things ever said to me in a super chat ever. Or any donation. Donation or super chat. I've never had anything as unique as that little, is it a soliloquy or whatever you just sent me? Let me see here. Who's your favorite non-gaming YouTuber? Like a unique, interesting one. So not only do you say who's your favorite non-gaming YouTuber, now you're saying it has to be someone who's a unique and interesting one. Oh man, I mean, probably like Jay's 2 cents, Linus Tech Tips, Bitwit. I mean, you might argue those are related. They're not really gaming YouTubers. Those are tech YouTubers. But I can understand if you want to argue they're related. If you want to get me completely away from tech and gaming, then probably someone like Philip DeFranco. I watch the Philly D show all the time. Not all the time, but usually I catch like a couple of them a week. So I also like Hot Ones a lot on First We Feast. That show. Sean Evans. I like that show a lot. I know, and the thing is, I know those are big popular YouTubers, but I can't help it. Like they're entertaining. I like it. What's your? Let me see here. What do you think of the Castlevania franchise? Says Anthony. The Castlevania franchise is amazing, and I wish that I was someone that spent more time playing that IP. I've only played like 3 of them. And there's been widely different like takes on it and different versions, and from the side scrollers to the more action oriented ones. I guess you can argue it's always been action oriented a little bit, but I don't know. It's a franchise I wish I'd spent more time with, but I haven't. And I haven't spent enough time with it to give you a good formulated opinion, other than I've enjoyed the little bit of time I've played Castlevania. It's one of those old school IPs. I don't know why I just never felt like, oh, I want to play Vampire Dracula game. It just never was like something that like clicked in my brain when I was younger, so I just never really got big into it. Xenoblade 2 does an incredibly emotional ending. I've seen the end of Xenoblade Chronicles 2, but it's weird bringing it up because I saw it because I watched Etika live stream it. So I already know how it ends. And yeah, I know it's emotional. But I don't know how the DLC ends because that wasn't the end of the DLC. I think Sonic Adventure is made in San Francisco. You won't let your kids play POS games. Good for you. Yet you're okay with utter trash cartoons like SpongeBob. I think SpongeBob is an all-time classic cartoon. I even like some of the newer seasons. So people like what they like, man. I also like Big Bang Theory. And I realize some people think that's trash. Like, who cares? And my kids can play trash games. I really don't care. They play games on tablets and phones that I think are dumb. It's whatever. Barney was good too. I enjoyed Barney when I was a kid, but as I got older, I kind of realized Barney's pretty lame. But I'm still entertained by SpongeBob to this day. John says that super chat you got makes me remember a guy on Spawncast a few months ago who made a spicy fan art between Spawnwave and RGT 85. Oh boy, I didn't see that fan art. Is it a good thing I didn't see it, or do I want to see it because it's actually a really, really good piece of fan art? It's just a little sexual, shall we say. Oh, someone asked about a song request earlier. All song requests are through super chats and donations. So even if you just like donate like $1 or super chat like $1 or $2 or whatever the minimum is for super chat, you can do a song request and I will play that song for you. I prefer it to be video game music, particular Nintendo, because I don't get copyright strike for Nintendo music. Pokemon music, you still get copyright strike for, but any other Nintendo-owned IP, there's no copyright strikes anymore, so I can play any of that stuff. If for some reason you really want me to play copyrighted music, that's going to have to be something that's probably a bit bigger of a donation or super chat, because that means I have to sacrifice literally any potential for ad revenue off this live stream to do that. Let me see here. Am I getting Witcher 3 on Switch? Right now, I don't have any plans to get any more games the rest of 2019 just for financial reasons. But, as I said, things change. You know, as plans change. Financial situations change. I put my gaming budget into a Switch for my son. We'll see what happens in the future. So right now, I'm not promising I'm buying anything. I like Girlfriend Reviews. Yep. Girlfriend Reviews is pretty good. I like it too. And I really like they had that... for their anniversary or for something, I can't remember. They did a little like background behind how it works. So basically, the guy does all the work in terms of he plays the games and he writes the scripts, but he inserts things that he thinks that she would say, and then she goes through the scripts and interjects her own opinions and own thoughts to kind of morph it more into her opinion, and then he does all the editing as well. The boyfriend does, and she obviously does all the voice work and everything. And all it's interesting how that became popular and worked out. Monty hits us with the $1.99 super chat. And he says, "I request Monty Mole's theme from Mario Strikers. Why am I not surprised? I should have known. Let me get that up for you here. I should have known. Come on. Let me unmute my desktop here. I gotta turn the volume down on it. Oh, jeez. I hate the mouse connectivity. I really got to get my physical aspect. All right. All right. Monty. What is it? Monty Mall theme. Mario Strikers. Got it. I gotta turn on my speakers here. Oh, I'm gonna unmute it too. Jeez. Don't want that muted. There you go. Enjoy that theme, baby. I have a crazy request. Could I get Michael from Vsauce on your podcast? I don't know him or have any contact with him. I mean, it doesn't hurt for me to reach out and just see if he responds. But holy moly, what a banger! Your favorite non-gaming channels are Young Ripa, James, Allsup, Grady, Mark Collette, PewDiePie, Joe Rogan. Cool. See here. Get Sheldon from the Big Bang Theory on the podcast. God, I got that. My channel would probably blow up from all the Sheldon fans out there. I mean, PewDiePie was a gaming channel, then became like a meme channel, and he still does gaming once in a while. The Cardinal Review has subscribed. Thank you so much for subscribing. If you're watching in my streams while you subscribed, thank you so much. With the Street Fighter 30th collection, Reset Arcade 1-Up release, do you think Capcom will ever release a Marvel vs. Capcom collection or night? I mean, someday. When they think it's appropriate and they need to milk it, they'll put it out there. I've noticed they have Kirby on Spotify now, Nate. They've been slowly adding Nintendo music to a lot of official places like Spotify. Graphics Don't Matter Games, who says, I thought you said you would be selling your extra Zelda stuff on eBay. I sold a bunch of my E3 stuff, extras that I had. I sold it on Twitter. As for the rest of my Zelda stuff, I don't know. I'm not like going crazy here. I actually don't have a ton of stuff. Though Majora's Mask has sold. I don't get the money for that for 2 weeks, but that is sold. And some other things, but I honestly don't have a ton of stuff to sell. I don't have a ton of collectibles, unless it's my Zelda amiibo, and I'm not selling them. Caldiver says you should watch channels like XBull1A, Thoughty2. I think you would legit like channels like those. XBull is a bit on the snarky, accidental side. Okay, I mean, I don't know. I already watched so many damn channels. It's hard for me to imagine adding a whole bunch more. Mark Greenberg, you know what needs to happen for that song. Come on now. Remember before E3 when Reggie referenced the F word? Yes, I do. Yes, I do. Number one video trending in the U.S. is Game Theory roasting YouTube. Is that right now? No way. No way. That's the number one trend. Wait, Game Theory roasted YouTube like now? No way. Oh, it is. It's number one. You got to be kidding me. YouTube allowed that video to be number one? No way. I'm going to have to watch that later. I'm subscribed to Game Theorist and I even hit the bell icon. I didn't even get a notification. Oh, I'm going to have to watch that later. I really like I like videos like this from MatPat when he actually like gets you can like his theories or hate his theories, but I like when he gives you some behind the scenes stuff because he has been doing analytical work with YouTube for ages. So it's interesting when he goes behind the scenes and actually gives you like insights he has that I don't. I like when he does these like sitting on the couch and just being real with you kind of videos that he's been doing a lot more here in 2019. Nice. I can't believe that he's number one. That's cool. Maybe you know what it is. YouTube did it ironically. He made a video saying that YouTube is ruining gaming, And then ironically, he became number one. YouTube would be like, "Oh wait, what? You think we don't feature you? Don't this? We got to make this video number one." Like, I wonder if it's like an ironic feature for YouTube to try to be like, "He's wrong. See, he's number one." James Rolfe, yeah, angry video game nerd, right? Yes, I sold my Majora's Mask. Mark Greenberg. It is sold. Officially sold. Sold it for 170. I mean, the guy hasn't paid me yet, so there's always a chance the sale falls through. He's supposed to pay me. He has a payday in like a week and a half. He's supposed to pay me, and if he doesn't, well, then obviously it's going back on the market to sell. But song requests incoming in comments. Okay, Monty, gotcha, man. Roses are red. Now I must sleep. Down to my hole, and the dirty moles keep, and all of our dongs we put in the song. I request one more song by the name of. Oh, Monty, I know. Okay, I'll give. Jeez. I apologize right now to the viewers on this song. It is actually an old theme song I used to play before some of our late night streams, but I kind of backed off on it because YouTube doesn't necessarily. It's not a banned song by YouTube, but it's like they don't really appreciate it. But you know what? Here you go. There you go, Mark. You happy? Someone requested it for you. And my viewership's about to dip from 56 down to like 30. Who came by yesterday? So I still have the Majora's Mask in my possession, but if the sale falls through, then it'll go back on the market for people. Pushing the extremes. My favorite gaming channels are Arlo, me. Why, thank you. Optimus, the Quartering, Optimus. Optimus is listed twice. You must really like him. AVGN, MBG, Geeks and Gamers, and BitBlock. Nice. Nate, will you show the Majora's Mask on camera? Yeah, here. There it is. I've had this Majora's Mask for almost 10 years now. Yeah. A little dusty. I should probably wipe it off before I ship it. Yeah, it's really nice. Handcrafted. The person who sells them, his shop's not open anymore. You can get, there's a whole bunch of Majora's Mask, like replicas and handmade stuff now on Etsy. That back when this came out, there really wasn't much of them, so it was really expensive at the time. Now they're a lot cheaper, but someone offered a really good price for it. So, let's see here. Still worried about Etika. I can't sleep. I hope he's all right. Yeah, I mean, we all hope he's all right. I think all of us, just as human beings, we don't ever want to see anyone go down the route it appears he might have gone down. So, thoughts out to hopefully finding him alive somewhere and getting him the help he needs now that he is actually admitting that he needs help or that he needed help. I don't know. I just hope he gets found and he's alive. Let's see here. Did I see the UK release of Link's Awakening with the Game Boy steel case? I did see the UK is getting a very sick steel case. He's the angriest Nate you've ever heard. He's Nathan Nintendo Prime. He's Nathan the Nintendo YouTube nerd. He's Nathan the Nintendo Pro. Jeez. You're doing the AVGN thing, but putting me in there instead. Why is this so awesome? I have no idea. It just is. That song. I found a video called Nintendo at E3 2015. It was a parody of Nintendo announcing Mother 3 Bill getting fired. Yes, that actually was a thing they did. Nintendo did a parody. Like, it's an actual thing Nintendo did. That's not fan created. I'm praying he faked. I think everyone's praying that he faked it, but you just don't know, you know. At first, when I saw his "I'm sorry" video, my initial reaction, like halfway through, was like, "Oh my god, he's actually finally admitting, like he's come to that realization that he's been making mistakes and he needs help." But then you can see, like, he never really says he needs help now. It's all, I should have got help, past tense. Like, everything's premeditated. I don't know. I hope everything. All I have at this point is hope. Nothing looks good right now. So, what? Etika had yet another mental breakdown. Etika has likely. It seems likely at this point that Etika has committed suicide. It's not just like a mental breakdown. He put up a video at midnight on like the 20th or whatever, saying that, admitting to a bunch of mistakes, admitting to the negative impacts of social media, admitting that everyone was right all along, and he didn't really accept that he had a mental issue until recently. And then and then if you read the description, there was more. The description was basically a suicide note. Without calling it a suicide note, it was a suicide note. And then they found a bunch of his belongings by the Manhattan Bridge. And no one's seen him for 3 days. So, the police are looking. The police are scouring the river. It's kind of like not like oh, he had another mental breakdown. It's like not. It's bad right now. And obviously it's hard in the Nintendo community to like talk, like I wanna like talk positive and have like positivity and have fun like we've been having this, but like it's hard to ignore that like this is something that's happening. Like, he was such a big part of the Nintendo YouTube community, even despite all of the issues the past like 8 months, it's still like, dude, like it's been years of him being like this big figure. And like it was easy to maybe ignore it a bit when obviously having a bunch of issues, but then like no one ever wanted to see it come to this. So most people, as Mark said, we're kind of hoping that like he faked it or couldn't go through with it and ran or like something. The hope is that he's somewhere hiding out, but no one really knows at this point. I mean, maybe the police already do and they haven't released it yet, but no, I meant, why would your sub count drop? I didn't mean sub count, just viewership. Sometimes you get people watching me that are very family friendly, because I do, like that wholesome video with my son the other day. Like, people watch because they enjoy my content, and I keep it mostly family friendly. And because of that, when they come to a stream and then things kind of start diving in a non-family, like that song is not family friendly, they're like, "Oh man, gonna unsubscribe," or like stop watching, kind of thing. Yeah, I mean, a river, it's a body of water, all right? Because sometimes people have too much exposure nowadays. I feel bad for kids who can't go home and be bullied on Facebook. Yeah. And that's why you'll always see me with video games, the internet, YouTube channel, social media. Like, yeah, obviously this is all a big part of my life and stuff that I enjoy doing, and this whole YouTube shtick, but like it's all secondary. Not even secondary. It's all like just, if it goes away, it goes away. I'll be all right. I'm not like, and maybe, I never was as big as Etika either. So like, Etika obviously, I could never personally understand all the social media stuff at the popularity level he was at, because I'm not at that popularity level, so I can't understand. But I would love to be really popular, but like, not really the time to talk about that kind of thing, Let's see here. It's like midnight. It's getting close to midnight. Yep. Back in the day, we handled it. Oh, by the swing set. Jeez. I really, man, I really don't even want to talk much about the Attica stuff because it's just maybe it's something that once he's confirmed alive or otherwise, maybe we can have like a final conversation on the whole thing, and about mental health and all that great stuff. I feel like Beat 'em Ups did a really nice thing not too long ago for mental health with his live stream and the charity stuff. And I personally, I would love to do something like that. They do a charity stream for suicide prevention and all that stuff. It's just the hard part for me is I'm not financially stable enough to be like, yeah, let me dedicate, a 48-hour, even a 24-hour stream to raise charity for stuff. Like I'm not financially stable to do that. Like I can't just take that chunk of time and not make money at all during that chunk of time for myself. So, but it's a great thing that he did, and I really want to see more people do that, YouTubers and just people in general, supporting causes like that to help people out. $5 foot long from Baldson16 says, you need to stay positive. I found out I have depression because of Beat 'em Up stream. Hey, that's what I was just talking about. Which you donated to. Yes, I did. I couldn't donate a ton, but I donated what I was able to. I believe in that kind of cause. It's so important for people to understand that depression is real. Much love to all of you. Hugs. Stay positive. Hashtags. Thanks, man. Yeah, depression is a very personal thing for me. I've had a form of depression before. I say had. It's probably still there. I don't know that it ever really goes away. But I kind of referenced it on Twitter the other day without meaning to. It just kind of came out, and I just left it up. No one really said anything. I mentioned, with the whole Attica thing, jumping off the bridge, like that I've jumped and somehow survived. I tried to commit suicide. Depression is very real. And the hardest thing when you have it is admitting that you have it. And the hardest thing then, once you admit that you have it, is doing something about it. I've had it, and I went to many years of therapy, and I haven't been to therapy now in a while. Now, there are times that I definitely could tell it's weighing on me, and it's present. But I've learned coping methods through my therapy that I can kind of push past it and kind of get rid of it and be all happy and be fine. Obviously, meeting Yulia and having her be the love of my life has helped a ton. That's always, making a connection like that with someone always helps. My fiance has depression, and her depression got worse and worse with each pregnancy and each child, because there's also, you have, I think it's like postpartum depression or whatever, but you stack that on top of regular depression, and it's crazy. And I don't know, like postpartum depression can last your entire life, and you have that without the depression. It's just, hers is a really extreme level. And Eric, we talked about it before. Eric's talked about it. But my best friend, co-host of the Nintendo Prime podcast, he has severe depression. I'm surrounded, my mom has it. Like, I'm surrounded by people with, like, I can't go and look anywhere in my family without being with people who have depression. So it's been something I am very, very familiar with, and very familiar how important it is to get help. Don't be afraid to get help. The moment you ever have any sort of thought in your mind that the world is better without you, get help. Don't do me. I literally took the jump. There have been, the bridge that I jumped off of, in my lifetime, there has been 40 reported suicides there out of an attempted 42. I'm one of the two. It's a serious thing, guys. Like, you need to not joke around with this crap. I've talked about it before, obviously back when Beat 'em Ups and was doing his whole stuff, and how much I appreciated what he was doing, and how much how much it meant to me that he used his platform and his fact that he is financially stable enough to do a charity stream, and just the amount of money he raised is crazy. And I really appreciate what he was doing, and I appreciate and what he'll probably do again in the future. I wouldn't be surprised if that's, if he makes it an annual thing or once every few years or something. But I really appreciated it, and I obviously pray that Etika didn't do that. Didn't do the dumb thing I did. That I was fortunate enough to survive, and I hope that he gets help. I mean, I know he's not currently in a facility or anything because his family would know, and his family didn't know where he was as of like hours ago. So I hope for the best, and if it's the worst, I hope that, kind of like what Etika said in his video, that it is almost a lesson. I hate like trying to draw any positive out of it because there isn't, but it's just like another public example of like, dude, like, take this crap seriously. Don't screw around with your mental state. Realize how important real happiness is. Realize how important it is to admit when you're having a problem. Like, you're never alone. As Beat 'em Up's always said, hashtag never alone. You're never, even in your most lonely state, there's always someone out there that gives a shit. And like in Etika's video, it made it feel very obvious that he felt extremely alone in that moment he had recorded that video. You're never alone. Anyways. Yeah, I don't want to spend forever talking about this, of course, because it's important, but I don't know what is there to say that hasn't been said. Why do the donations appear the stream way before the chat? Well, super chats appear instantly in the chat and then appear in the stream after like a few seconds. Actual donations appear in the stream part of the stream before they appear anywhere else because they're not through YouTube. Let's see what some of you guys have said because I haven't really been reading it. Actually, let me scroll. Yeah, I'll scroll up over here. I'm gonna keep this where I've been. Let me scroll up here. I was going through the depression late 2018, early 2019. I would argue I still have it, but not in a severe state. Yeah, like, I don't know that's anything you're ever over. Like you're cured. Like, depression's a mental thing. You're not really cured. You can't like make your brain better, but you can definitely do things that help, and different methods and different types of therapy, and just having someone to talk to alone, that even if you're paying them because they're a therapist, they still care. Like, you're not a good therapist if you don't care about your patients. So like, even if they're paid to care, they care. And oftentimes they'll go above and beyond what you're paying them because that's how much they end up caring about their patients. So and there's free therapy out there and you're not even paying them. Like, it's just, man. Etika gave laughs and countless smiles. If he did pass, he was loved all the while. If God took his hand, may he find joy in heaven or on earth. Joy come. Nice. That was a nice sentiment, Monty. Thanks for talking about this. Saw the tweet and didn't ignore it, but didn't know what to say. I mean, yeah, it's a tough thing to like talk about in general. I'm glad you're still with us, Nate. I appreciate you. You can tell your family this and that. I mean, obviously now I have kids and my fiance. Like, I have a zillion and one reasons to not even contemplate those kind of thoughts anymore. Not that there aren't like temptations at times for things, but it's just I'm okay. Like, I can't really complain about depression with me today. I mean, the way my mental state is today compared to like my fiance and everyone else around me, like they're so much like way worse off than me mentally. I'm like normal basically, and they're far from that, but it's okay. I think going through what I go through is what enables me to be who I need to be for my fiance, for her depression. Because if I didn't go through it, I don't know that I could understand or help in the way that I want to, because it's a lot to go through. Let's see here. Attica is following one less person now. That change was on Friday. This could be due to a block, or maybe somehow had access and still I don't know. I mean, obviously that's just holding out hope. I just hope those in the chat realize that we come here for the same content, and we love Nintendo Rumblings, which is personal and loving content. Thanks. Where is Ninties? What I deal with is a lot. Whenever I am really worried or depressed, I get really bad stomach cramps. Ouch. How come the hospital let them out? These situations are kind of why such exist in the first place. A lot of times when you go to here's the deal about mental hospitals, mental wards, places like he went to a place for depression, is everything that they can do for you is only possible if you are willing to do it for yourself. So what did Attica say in that I'm sorry thing? He didn't think he had depression. He didn't think there was anything wrong with him. He thought he was fine. And the thing is, when you can't admit that you have a problem, those places don't do anything for you. So yeah, he got released on a thing that once said agitated. Of course, because he didn't think anything was wrong. When you don't think anything's wrong, they can't diagnose you with something if you yourself are acting like there's nothing wrong in the first place. There's nothing to diagnose because you can't admit, you won't talk about it. You're not getting into those deep inner thoughts that you need to be able to express and get out there. You're not to you. You're just like, dude, people were being assholes, and now I'm here. Like, this is dumb. People are being dumb, and it just makes me agitated. Like, whatever, I'll be all right. There's nothing wrong with me. I'm a normal human being just trying to live my life. Like, you do those kind of things. Those places don't really have anything to go on. You know, they're not sitting there following you like a hawk on the internet and seeing what's happening on Twitter all the time. Like, they have nothing to go on. They just, hey, if you're not being honest with them, guess what? You're going to get diagnoses or get release papers that aren't true because you're not being honest. It's kind of like when you go to a doctor. If you're not honest about your symptoms with the doctor, you're not going to get the right diagnosis. Same thing with mental doctors. If you're not able to admit that something's wrong, you're not going to get the correct diagnosis. So that's just how it works. That's why you can't fault them for letting him go, because they can't help someone who isn't wanting to be helped. In order for situations like Attica was in, not having a right to choose, he would have to be deemed mentally unstable by the courts. The court systems have to get involved and deem him unfit mentally to make decisions for himself. And that never happened. So there was no way. And that's a very hard thing to get a court to do. Because you basically have to have a psychiatrist prove that he's crazy. And that's not easy. That's not easy to do. It's not easy for a parent to try to even stomach the idea of doing. One thing I feel I shouldn't always say is I know how you feel, because do I really? I may have a better idea because I deal with it. Yeah, what's the thing? I don't always know, like, except my fiance. Her depression's way worse than mine ever was, and I thank my lucky stars every single day she's still with us. Just for the things that go through her mind. And I tell her that I understand some of it, but she knows I can't understand all of it. There's no way I can. I can't understand, the trauma she went through as a child in Russia. I can't understand that. I can't understand, foster homes. I can't understand, what her mother did to her and what a potential other boyfriends did to her. I can't understand what it was like being adopted and coming to the U.S., not being able to speak English or understand anyone. And the people who adopted you don't even speak Russian, so you have no way to communicate. I can't understand any of that. I can't understand the stuff that she went through as a teenager with boys and all. I can't understand any of that. I can't understand I can't understand what postpartum depression's like with having a child. Like I can't understand mood swings from having depression and all that stuff happening to you, and then having the mood swings with that time of the month with periods and stuff. Like I can't understand that. Like none of that is something I can really relate to, but I can relate to some of the feelings that come associated with it. The feeling of anger, the feeling of regret, the feeling of dissatisfaction with yourself and life, the feeling of being worthless and that the world's better without you. Like I can relate to those feelings, but not the path that she gets to get to those. And that's kind of the way it is with a lot of people. Is we can all relate in terms, like if you had depression, you can relate in terms of what those feelings feel like, but not necessarily the situations that get you towards those feelings. I think but because of my experience with depression, I'm able to at least relate in some form to what that feels like, and use some of what I learned through therapy and whatever to not like push her further down that way. If that makes sense, like try to draw her back a little bit. It's hard to ever get someone out of it, but like I know little ticks and little things I can do that I've learned over my years with her that really help. And I've same with Eric and my mom and other people in my life that deal with this stuff. So, and for myself is always last now at this point. I worry about my mental state last. If I'm losing it, then so is everyone else. In my life, if I'm starting to lose it, so. And Yulia even knows that too. There was one moment in our 8 years together that I was not doing well, and she knew, and she immediately set aside all her shit, and stepped up big time for me. So like, that's love, man. So. Closest I ever came to being back to exactly what I was, I don't know, 10 years ago, 12 years ago. And see, this is what's weird about talking about this stuff. Like, no one really has anything to say. Like, how do you really have a conversation about this? Like, besides talking about personal experiences, there really isn't much else to go. I mean, we all agree, get help. You're never alone. All that stuff, Anyways, I think we might be calling this a stream here in a bit. I'm pretty sure that my fiance is sleeping at this point. We got a decent amount of like super chats and donations. This is probably the best stream for that in a long time. You guys really came through again tonight. It's awesome. Did not expect that. Oh. And yet, during my stream, Joel Putz left me on Patreon. It's weird too. So Joel Putz leaves a comment on the Patreon post. Yay, I'm first. And then he deletes. Then he deletes his pledge and is no longer a member on Patreon. So weird. I guess he wanted to get one last shout out in there, huh? Sorry for not saying much. It's okay. Like when it's a super serious thing like that, like there's not really. That's why I've been trying to avoid talking about Etika this whole stream, but people keep bringing them up. Like it's such a hard thing to really talk about in general. So, do you think there's a correlation between gamers and depression? We'll say that gaming has helped me a lot. I used to suffer from it, but games... Yeah, dude, games help. I think in many situations, games can help. I talked about this before, like, escapism is a huge part of helping with depression. And games can really give you that. Escaping from the things in life that are so upsetting and crappy, and games give you that world, that escape, that immersion to get away from it. There's a really great video on this, and this is from a child's perspective, called, I think it's called Escape. It's about a girl who escapes a whole bunch of situations at school, bullying, teacher crap, parents fighting, getting physically abused. How she escapes all of that by playing The Legend of Zelda. And without The Legend of Zelda, you never know. I mean, granted, this is a scripted thing, but it's one of those situations in real life, like, you never know. Like, if a video game wasn't there, would that person still be here? So, like, I agree, video games can definitely help with depression. So, it's a really neat video. It's old. It's pretty old at this point, but I think it's still up on YouTube. Very, very nice video showing from a child's perspective, just going through some crap. And funny thing is, like, watching that video is very personal because I went through some of those same things. I'm not gonna say that I was, like, physically abused, but there was a lot of mental things that happened when I was younger, and oh man, I escaped with The Legend of Zelda too, so it was kind of like oh man, just slice into my childhood right there. All right, I guess I can get some shout outs here, because since we're winding some things down here, let me go to the beginning of the stream. Let me see. Baldson16 did a $5 donation and then a $2 donation. So thank you so much for that. Matthew Campos with a $5 donation. We had, let me see, a $5 super chat from Clayton Miller. Thank you so much. T.T hit us with a $10 donation. Thank you for that. Monty, back to back with a $9.99 and a $1.99 super chat. Thank you so much for that support. Monty then hit us with another $1.99 super chat. Obviously some song requests. Thank you so much. And Baldson16 hit us with another $5 super chat, or $5 super chat, $5 donation. Thank you so much. I always like to, when we have a whole bunch of donations and stuff coming out, I always like to give some grand totals at the end of the stream. So we had about $20.49 roughly in super chat. So thank you so much. And then 27 in donations through 10 total individual super chat / donations. So thank you guys for that support tonight. I don't know when I'll be streaming again. I don't know. I never know. You stream when you stream, right? That's generally how it works. So thank you guys for tuning in, and I'll catch you later.